Yay, we're live. We're fucking special.
So I hadn't really paid attention. Obviously, I'm not subscribed to Belle Delphine. Had she actually put out a video recently that you know of? I don't think she
Not that
had
I'm aware
on
of. I
YouTube.
don't know. I know she's been like getting progressively more inappropriate.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, like
yeah. I
to the
was
point
just
where you're
saying,
like, you're obviously trying to get fucking banned. Like, don't
yeah,
just fucking obviously. Come
yeah.
on, man.
I'm sure she saw how much people
To
get, how much money people get when they get banned. It's
yeah.
very profitable. Um,
Oh, I know her.
again,
Yeah, her fucking money just went way through the fucking roof compared to where it was prior. You know, there's a bunch of
yeah,
dudes
she's
like
definitely.
you're exactly right. All those dudes would be like, "Oh my god, poor Belle Delphine. We better just fucking throw money at her."
Here,
It's
you
like
poor
Jesus.
thing. Here, yeah, they're fucking retarded.
I wish I had a complete lack of morals and a vagina to do that with. Fucking Christ, the money's got
Dude.
to be great.
Yeah,
Because
and if you've seen her, like, I mean, even dolled up, she's not like
she's not that pretty.
fucking much of anything. She's not even dolled up like that. She's not. And have you seen the pictures of her like without makeup? She's fucking hideous, dude.
Well,
Well, not hideous, but she is not attractive at all. Like,
there's a lot of
which is
people
true
who,
of
yeah,
a lot of women.
there's a lot of chicks
Yeah,
who, yeah, the makeup is really what makes them like super attractive. But
yeah,
for
yeah.
her, honestly, for me, her physical appearance isn't what turns me off. It's just her fucking personality. It's so
Yeah,
fucking
she's
shitty that I'm
pretty
just like, oh,
retarded.
I can't fucking.
Yeah, and
You
honestly,
just
there's
stat
worse
repellent.
ones. She's just kind of vapid and
That's
kind
what I'm
of
saying.
dumb.
Yeah,
I mean, which I mean, compared to some of the other fucking people that are like genuinely just horrible and not just stupid. So I mean, if you're gonna
imagine.
rank them, she's not as bad as like fuck, I don't Amaranth. I'm guessing is one of them. Who's the other
I don't
Twitch?
know any
There's a
other
lot on
e-girls
Twitch.
really. I try to stay out of that fucking arena. Like, just fucking
Yeah,
leave me
well,
out
I
of
mean, I
this
hear about
crazy
them because
shit.
of the reaction
I
shit
see
to
stuff
them, like
from
people
that
throw
Gundam guy is
cats
about as
around.
far as I know.
Yeah, he covers a lot of it.
Well, he covers
Oh
the
yeah,
shit that's funny enough for me to care
another big one.
about.
Pokemon. Pokemon was I guess it
Pokemon is
doesn't
another
matter.
one.
You know what I'm
But just imagine trying to
saying?
sit
Yeah,
down and have a conversation with Belle Delphine. Like what would you fucking talk about? Like, to me,
oh god,
that's more about like whether I actually find a person attractive or not, like a chick. It's just like,
yeah.
can I sit
Oh,
down and actually have a fucking conversation with her? Because
no,
otherwise,
you'd
I
be
just
going nuts.
fucking would
Be
want to kill
you.
myself every
Uh,
day.
I would imagine a lot of your responses to the saying is, "Oh, cool. All right, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Shiny things
interesting.
are shiny.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
shiny things are definitely shiny. You're right.
I imagine the only thing I could possibly. I'm sure she watches like anime or something. Like that just seems to be
Or her
the
boyfriend does.
e-girl standard is the anime. Well, maybe her and her boyfriend and I could hang out then, because as long as she's not there,
Yeah, dude. I'm
I'd be
telling you, I
down.
don't think she would be what she is without her boyfriend being the director or whatever.
Oh, I don't give a fuck one way or the other. I really don't. I think that's just such a fucking. Who cares? Like, her cultural impact is entertaining. Her sooner or later she's gonna fucking fall. Like that's gonna fucking fall
Yeah,
apart. That's gonna be fucking
and hers,
entertaining.
yeah, hers
I'm
also
hoping she gets a
doesn't.
movie out of it. Like, I want to see the fucking Belle Delphine movie that she makes, because I'm sure she's fucking gonna.
Yeah, could be.
And it's gonna be sold on the pretense of there being lots of really hot, sexy scenes, or her titties coming out, and they're fucking not gonna come out, and there's not gonna be any hot, sexy scenes, other than that it's super high censored or whatever.
Yeah, lots of bars, lots of black bars around, but
But as
genitalia.
far as her videos, there was. I want to say there were two other music videos after the fucking Belle Delphine's back one.
Yeah,
And I think in one she actually was like rubbing her fucking crotch. Like,
yeah,
obviously through panties
definitely.
and stuff, but
Yeah,
like,
no,
you
it's
know,
it's incredibly suggestive. That's why, like, I don't know. I don't really think she should have got banned, but by their own rules,
just for the
she should have.
exactly. I don't agree that they should have banned her, but for the consistency of following their own fucking rules, they needed to. because it was like fucking absurd. It's like, this is a porno.
Yeah, it's definitely softcore shit, dude. Jesus Christ.
It was absolutely created for the sole intent of making horny teenagers jack off. You know, like that's there's no other reason for those fucking videos.
She's not getting rich off of the teenagers. She's getting rich off the fucking pedos who think she looks like she's 14.
Well, I mean, you know, 18, fucking 19. They're still teenagers. I don't imagine.
I guarantee you there's a lot of dudes in their 30s. There's a lot of dudes in their 30s that are fans of hers because they're fucking pedos.
30s and 40s. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I would imagine, like, why would you want to fucking draw the attention to yourself? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like a dog whistle. They'll tell everybody if they find out you're an OnlyFans fucking Belle Delphine, they'll be like, do you like fucking little girls?
Like, yeah,
your next question. So
again, she has almost no tits, and she claims to have a big ass, but she doesn't. I don't know. So it says something about thighs.
The thick thighs. Yeah, thick thighs, surprise or something like that. And then she's fucking gobble up or something. I don't know. Fucking.
Yeah, it's disturbing, dude.
But yeah, she's talking about having thick thighs and like a big ass, and she really doesn't. Like,
yeah, that's why I say that, because again, at least the other ethos usually have decent fucking bodies, at least, or you know, they at least have.
Oh yeah, you have that weird fucking like, oh, I can't fucking. She didn't have D-cup boobs. She's not hot.
Well, they're fucking like almost non-existent, though, dude.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't care one way or the other for the tits. Like, chicks can be flat or they can be big tittied. I don't really like. It doesn't make a difference to me.
No, man, you gotta have some kind of tits, dude. I can't. You could seriously fucking. There's not enough personality in the world for me to overcome flat-chested, dude.
Yeah, that's why I was making fun of you. You're that weird fucking like, nah, she's gotta have big old titties.
No, not big, but they have to be bigger than mine.
I can handle A cup. I don't understand what the problem is.
They have to be at least as big as mine.
They have to be at least as big as yours. Fair enough. I mean, that's just a matter of taste, though. It's not like, you know, like there's something wrong with that. Just.
Yeah, I don't think I'm alone in that, Stabby. You're the fucking weird one.
No, I don't think I'm the weird one.
I think you are, dude.
I think there's a lot of people.
Okay. I have to call you weird, but I think you're in the minority in your opinion. I think there's more dudes that say you have to have at least a fucking.
I think that there's as many people who are into big titties. I think there's probably as many people who are like, fucking titties are great. I don't care, like any kind of titty.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like actually like as small as Belle Delphine's and smaller. There's no way a majority of dudes or even close.
Not majority, half. I'm saying it's like 50-50. There's like, I'm sure there's like half the dudes in the world are like, she gotta have big old titties, and at least half the rest of the people are like, the rest of the other half are like, whatever, dude. She can have big titties or small titties. It don't matter.
Even for me, I mean, at a certain point, there is such a thing as too much. You know, if I think I'm gonna throw my back out lifting your titty, they're probably too big.
Throw my back out lifting your titties. Whoops. That'd be
hilarious. Nice fucking handful, dude. It's great.
I'm not saying big titties are bad. Like, you act like I'm saying they're like some sort of terrible thing. I'm just saying it don't matter to me one way or the other. I think it's a perfectly reasonable thing to say.
I guess, dude.
Am I not allowed to like different titties than you?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm allowed to think you're a fucking weirdo, too.
Yeah. So like I said, am I not allowed to like different titties than you? That's all right, man.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. The flat chest is just, I don't know.
Doesn't work for you. I get it.
I'm not evolved enough to not.
Oh, fuck that noise. That bullshit. That's not fucking evolved. I hate that nonsense. Fucking societal or whatever, because you don't like the everything that we say you should.
It's the social. Fuck, goddamn! Why can't I think
justice warrior? Social justice warrior thing.
Well, no, but the more specifically the social norm kind of thing. I'm trying to think of. Fuck.
No, conform. Double D's.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Okay, Samaj.
They get huge like that. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of that. When they get like fucking melons and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
So hold on a sec, Day 12. Hold up. I want to get Samaj's point of view on this. Are you like one of those like she gotta have big titties or she gotta have small titties or you just don't care?
Yeah. D's the way to go. I mean, look,
You're another big titty guy. Okay.
Fair. I'll tolerate a C. I tolerate being the key phrase.
And then Rotten Silence. Please give us your input in the chat.
That's official. This is a scientifically valid study now.
Well, he says the second sex robots are dropped, people like relationships will probably just stop. Like,
But yeah, well, here's the thing, Samaj. Stabby thinks there's like an equal amount of people that are okay with like Delphine-sized tits and smaller as there are.
I think there are an equal number of dudes who are just like, I like titties and I don't give a shit.
Look,
to like the number of people that are like, I like big titties or nothing.
It's been a long time.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's been a long time for me, so I'll take what I can take what I can get. However, I do have a preference.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think a little handful, dude. At least that much, dude. They don't have to be huge. In fact, again, if they're huge, it's kind of gross, dude. At a certain point, like it's nice to look at. It's nice to appreciate. Like a nice piece of art.
I just find it odd that I somehow have to justify my fucking personal preference in titties. I don't understand why we still have to keep going over
it. It's a very common
now it's because it's bugging you, but beyond
no, it's really annoying me. I just like
it's a very common conversation that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
The weird thing is
like chested tits. That's your thing, dude.
I think the weird thing is that I find out that women are having the exact same conversation about other women. I'm like, God fucking damn it. We're all
chicks always talk about each other's tits, yeah.
Well, talk about it, but then they all have their own personal preference. And then I find out like large portion of the female population there are bisexual. Well, why are we not all hooking up? Like what? If you're all fucking bisexual, why are we not having orgies?
Yeah.
Oh right, because it would be fucking disgusting.
Oh, Deitwa, I just want to say, go fuck yourself. And
I couldn't resist.
Mysteriously disappear. I don't see what fucking message.
Come on, dude.
What message? I don't know. I didn't see no message. You know what? Gaming and Satan don't need your help. Oh my god, that was fucking funny.
I'll put it in the chat. You're gonna have to fucking unwrench me, dude. Now I'm gonna fucking put it in the chat. It's too much typing. I've already gotten bored with it. I got a laugh. I got my laugh out of it, dude. I
think Rotten Silence's final point though in the chat makes the most sense. That once the sex robots are out, like nobody's gonna have relationships anymore.
Yeah, no. Remember, I've been saying that since and the feminists first started freaking out about that. How they had to get fucking sex robot. Remember, they had to consent somehow. The robots had to have the option to say no for some fucking reason. So yeah, no, dude. Because seriously, guys don't need much, dude. I mean, women are the ones that need the companionship, or at least way more than men. I'm not going to say the companionship isn't part of it. It's not nearly as much.
There's a lot of time when you're not going to be fucking. There's a lot of time when you're not fucking. If you're in an actual like real relationship, you're not just like hooking up with somebody. I really like the personality's got to mesh, because otherwise, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, you're gonna spend a lot of fucking time with that person. You want to pick somebody you can actually just like fucking talk to.
Yeah, it's tough being in a relationship where the other person isn't great at carrying on a fucking conversation, and unfortunately, that's most women, dude.
Think like
my ex was not the brightest. She was hot, still is, but fucking not.
Ooh. What if titty size and IQ are related? The bigger the titty, the lower the IQ. Doomed by your own preferences.
Well, women with smaller tits
it does seem like the brains somehow change into tits, or vice versa. They're smart. Flat-chested chicks are fucking geniuses. All that boob tissue turns into fucking brains.
I knew a chick who was like B cups. I would say B cups. Yeah, like B cups. Who was like a mathematician. Like she's like studying math in fucking what's that fancy
Yeah,
British school, Oxford and shit.
yeah, Cambridge,
No, it was
Oxford.
Oxford, but Cambridge is
Apparently,
another one.
Cambridge.
Yeah.
Cambridge is apparently the more prestigious because I remember actually it was a Norm Macdonald clip that I was listening to where he was talking about Monty Python and how like Cleese and like a couple of them went to Cambridge and a couple of them went to Oxford, and the guys from Oxford were kind of like cowed, intimidated by the guys that went to Cambridge, and the Cambridge guys would
Yeah.
kind of lord it over them and be like, "Yeah, that's a good joke. That'll play well in Oxford." You know, like fuck with them like that.
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
for
apparently
sure.
Cambridge is the more prestigious. But yeah, like Oxford's
Yeah.
still a really good school. You know what I mean? It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, well, she went over to Oxford for like I think a semester or two just to be able to say she went to Oxford.
Well, they're the ones that do the Rhodes scholarships. That's Oxford. Yeah, they're known for taking people from other countries or whatever for
From talking
Rhodes
about
scholarships.
Yep.
how do we go from talking about tits to talking about schools?
I
I
don't
blame
know.
Stabby. It's not anybody's fault, but I still blame Stabby.
It's probably my fault. Although she's gonna be
Oh,
a college teacher. That's
it
her
was the
whole
boob to
fucking
brain
goal.
thing. It was my
Oh
theory
yeah, I was
about
saying it would be
Oh,
funny
okay.
if big
matter
old
becoming
titties
brain
meant the chick
matter.
was dumb. Yeah, like that was why Dazewell was just doomed to like terrible relationships.
I mean, maybe.
Fair enough, dude. Well, they're all awful. I mean,
So,
it's not,
all
you
right.
know,
Well, here's a
yes or
tit
no.
related question. Do you think you'd still find them attractive after she's had a kid? Because it's like if you're living with them, chances are you're gonna have one. And you're still gonna find her attractive afterwards.
That's a good question.
I've been in that situation, so yeah, yeah,
How is it? Oh yeah.
yeah, it's fine.
Okay, just checking.
I think it would probably depend on like if she ended up like exploding, because like some chicks have one kid and then suddenly like they're 400 pounds for the rest of their life.
Yeah, see, my ex held up pretty well, you know, even after that, our child, the third kid she had.
I think it's a matter of like how much do you let yourself go? Because you think, well, I'm pregnant, so I don't have to watch my waistline or nothing. And it's like, do you give yourself too much of a leeway? Like, do you just eat whatever the fuck you want? It's like,
Yeah, well, dude, I insisted on her eating as much as she possibly could. I fattened her up. It was totally my fault. I did not give a shit.
okay, see, there you go. And was she able to
Well,
bounce back from that?
when she's pregnant with your child, you want the kid to be healthy, so you fucking feed her whatever she feels like eating. Like, I would get
Oh,
up at
you
like fucking.
gotta.
I'd have to go to work at like 12, and she'd wake up at like 10 and be in the mood for fucking ribs and some other weird shit. And then I'd fucking run to the store and get it, and fucking come back and cook it for her, and then go to work. So yeah, I insisted that she eat a lot. 'Cause even the doctor told her at one point, he's like, "Well, you put on a lot more weight than normal," and because she
No,
got
see, you want a healthy kid, you got to stick a little like exercise bike up there and some fucking sweating to the oldies tapes. Get that
yeah,
kid
it does get
moving.
yeah, it's quite a lot that can fit up there at that point, dude.
I guess that's still a bit of a mystery. Like, what is the healthy thing to do? Like, do you maintain exercise
Oh
routines?
yeah.
I remember seeing a
Yeah,
video of this. I remember seeing a video of this pregnant woman, and what she did, she does that little belly dancing thing where she makes the muscles go, and she was still able to do it. And I'm like, is that okay? Something tells me that's not
Squeezing the
okay.
fucking kid around.
Like,
Kid's
that's
like
fucking weird.
kid comes out with like a
I'm
really
sure the
weird
kid's
square shaped skull because it got all squeezed and fucked up, and he's like, "That'd
fine.
be fucking great."
Kids like normal 8 pounds is normal, but 46 inches tall or long is not. You really stretch that kid out.
probably shouldn't. You probably shouldn't do like a series of sit-ups or anything. I'm like, is that okay? That's probably not.
I think if you go to the doctor, that they give you like a general idea of like what exercises you can do during like what trimesters. You know, like for the first
Yeah,
so
they
many
go over
weeks,
all that
this
one.
is what you can do, and then the next set of weeks, like you can do this, and you should do this, like because it's also some of the exercises I imagine are probably to like help strengthen the muscles you're going to use during childbirth,
Yeah, yeah.
so that you're better able to give Kegels, stuff like that.
I
Right?
would
Yeah.
imagine abdominal stuff. Yeah, I didn't really pay much attention to that. Although
And,
I
and
went to all the appointments with her.
well, and also look
So
back at our ancestors. They didn't fucking just sit there and do nothing for like 9 months. They were out fucking collecting berries and fucking nuts and
yeah,
cooking
just
food and taking care of the other babies.
squatting down and popping out a baby whenever it decides to come out.
Essentially, I mean, so I'm sure some exercise is definitely good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I found her up a lot. She got Bell's palsy temporarily, where it's like half of her face was like fucking frozen.
Jesus Christ! How does that happen?
I don't know. It was something with most likely it had to do with the pregnancy because it did go away after. But yeah, literally like you know how like your eyebrows are normally where they're at. Like one eyebrow was just drooping and like it was just like straight across,
Did you call it like
like the left side of her mouth. Left side of her mouth was like kind of drooping a little bit.
You fed her to the point where she turned like a fucking half ice cream face.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it might have happened
melting.
anyway, but who fucking knows?
No, I'm sure it had nothing to do with the food, but
Probably
that just
didn't help.
tickled me. Her face just starts drooping like one fucking like the ice cream too close to the fucking heat source.
Yeah, a little melty waxed face kind of thing, kind of.
Did you start calling her droopy?
Side of her face. Oh fuck!
Or is that too fucking
somehow
fucked up?
yeah, maybe after the fact, but during it, yeah, it's kind of. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's in poor taste, dude.
Oh man, why am I single? It's so weird.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's a real mystery. So what else besides Belle Delphine and her totally lucrative banning from YouTube?
Oh, she got banned from YouTube. Okay. I mean,
She's obviously been aiming for it.
I think she tries to push it. I mean, she's the kind of person who does nothing but would benefit from getting banned. Like, she's so controversial. And then people are going to be like she has the right to say whatever she wants and blah 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 blah. But
yeah, based on their own, we were talking about earlier, based on YouTube's own rules, she should have been banned a long time ago. Again, we don't think she should have gotten banned, but by their own rules, she fucking should have had to be.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm back video. Like Jesus Christ, man. It
YouTube,
was pretty suggestive.
I mean, YouTube in general is broken as fuck. We all know this, and especially now that with the whole election thing going on there, we know that there's some fucking weird stuff going on.
I just read Rotten Silence's comment.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'd find that one to be a little bit sus.
Chainsaws were invented to help with childbirth to remove the bones in the pelvic region.
God damn it.
Wikipedia, I'm guessing?
Maybe.
I don't know where you would look for that. I'm googling it because I'm curious now. Like, how big is that?
I'm hoping it's exclusively in Rotten Silence's mind, but it's probably somewhere on the internet. I mean, besides in our chat.
Let's see. It just gives it what a chainsaw is.
Type in
what they're
chainsaw
used
and
for.
Chainsaw childbirth.
But nothing about, like, the wiki doesn't give you anything about childbirth.
What the fuck? Is that real? Holy shit. Two doctors invented a chainsaw in 1780 to make the removal of pelvic bone easier and less time consuming during childbirth. Holy fuck.
Sounds horrible.
I thought he was just bullshitting, dude.
God, did they actually go through that?
I'm guessing what they're just calling chainsaw is not
fucking, it's on Wikipedia too?
It's so cringy.
I'm guessing the design was different than.
There's a fucking
How the
picture of
fuck would you
one
cut
for
up
the fucking. Here, I'll post it in the Discord.
Right.
The original chainsaws were powered by a hand crank. Holy fuck, dude!
Oh, it didn't want to show me the picture. Hold on, let me see if I just set it to the image.
It's okay. I don't need to see the picture. Good.
It's not. It's not a gross picture. It's just a. It's just a chainsaw, but it makes it much more easy to see that. Yeah. There you
Okay.
That's
As we know, babies can become obstructed if they're in breach or too large. When babies couldn't fit through or they would get stuck in the pelvis, parts of bone and cartilage were removed to create more space for the baby.
I mean,
I'm not going to try to pronounce that word.
Like, it's bad enough when I think about all the other stuff.
This is called a symphysiotomy. symphysiotomy. I've never seen that word before.
I think I'm good with the education. No need for any.
I think I know enough about this. I think I know too much, honestly.
I think that's too much, yeah. Well, it's bad enough that I know, like when women give birth, if their vaginas aren't opening up wide enough, they'll take like these scissors and actually cut the sides of them so they open up a bit more. Like that is bad enough to think about. That's a very common. Yeah, and that's a very common thing. They just sort of do that.
Yeah, I think it's called an episiotomy.
Yeah, episiotomy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then there's always the case like their lower half might rip, and so then their vagina and their ass would become one or something. I don't know. That kind of stuff can happen too. It's like, God, that all of this sounds terrible. It's bad enough because this is all a possibility.
Yeah, vagina and anus can become connected.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it. Because, after it's all done and you want to have a relationship together, you don't want that to know any of that stuff because it might ruin sex for you for the next little while because you got to spend the rest of your life with
Nah, that's just normal shit that happens to chicks.
I know it's normal stuff. I don't want to think about it because I
Any kind of blood on the vagina is too much for you, huh?
Sometimes. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't take that. Yeah, like Patrice O'Neill said, man, he's like, I'd just sharpen a stick, fucking keep her back. Get back, stay back. While she's on her period. Yeah, and that's the other thing is it's different for different chicks. Like some of them, it's just straight like regular blood, and a lot of them, it's like clots, dude. It's fucking disgusting, dude. And I felt bad. I was completely grossed out about it. You know what I mean? Like I could tell.
See if you can find the egg. It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Fuck! Why, dude?
Because you guys are both talking about being grossed out, and I was just like, this is going to be the most fucked up thing to say.
Yeah, you have a knack for that. It's a well, I don't want to call it a talent, but you definitely have.
You guys went from like 7 viewers down to 6. I think we're good on this topic.
Yeah, I think we should stop. Oh man.
I mean, Trump, am I right?
Oh yeah, I'm just fucking staying away from politics for right now because I'm sure like it's just gonna go back and forth with all sorts of crazy bullshit. I'll wait until they fucking coronate the president. I know it's not coronation, but you get what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just sad to see the death of like the illusion that. Like,
I mean, it is really the death of democracy, and it's a big step towards civil war, unfortunately, because the option is war, civil war, or voting. If you can't vote, then your only other option is to kill the people you don't agree with, because you can't remove them from office and get your way any other way.
Like, okay, I think a civil war is extremely unlikely.
Well, not this fucking year. I'm not talking about. Yeah, when I talk about civil war, I'm not talking about right now. I'm saying within the next 10 to 20 years. If it progresses as it's been going, it continues to go towards socialism. It continues to go towards this weird gotcha fucking mentality, and it stops, and we stop being able to elect any Republicans to fucking counter it so that it balances the whole fucking thing. If voting just doesn't matter anymore, sooner or later the conservatives will just fucking go out and start killing people. Like just fucking, that's how it's going to happen.
I think
Yeah, I don't want it, dude. Either way, man. I just hope the shit gets cleaned up because it's obviously rife with fucking corruption, the whole election process. So I don't want it to be into a fucking battle of who can cheat better. You know what I mean? That's going to be fucking again. That'll move up the battle way fucking quicker. Because nobody's gonna trust elections anymore. I don't fucking trust them at this point, dude.
Let me tell you, one thing you definitely cannot trust are those voting machines.
You were roboted out for me, Mr. Samaj.
Saying you don't trust the voting machines. Yeah, you can. Oh, there he goes. Hey, he's back. Just dropped off. Came back.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about the voting machines?
Oh yeah. All the different stuff about the voting machines. They were designed for communist countries in order to help them rig elections easier.
It was a Canadian-made machine here in Canada in Toronto, but there was Rebel Media did a thing where they found the location, like the building where the machines are made and sent out and run, and it turns out that in that same building just across from them, in the room in which the machines are created and all that, is the Tides Foundation location. Now, if you don't know about the Tides Foundation, it's an environmentalist green thing that they try to do. They get money from the government, like in fundings and all that.
Super left-wing group.
Super left-wing group, but also it was created and owned by George Soros.
Yep.
So they're on the same. They're just across on the same floor as Dominion Voting.
Damn.
Coincidence? Is this I don't know. And then
what? That is a crazy coincidence. Almost impossible to be a coincidence.
Indeed. And of course, I mean, like the Canadian government's been giving money to these people, but it's when I say the Canadian government, I mostly mean Trudeau, because Trudeau is using because he's on emergency powers because we're on the lockdown kind of thing. And he's just spending like a motherfucker. He's spending millions upon millions of dollars to the Tides Foundation of Canadian taxpayer money, and we can't stop him because he's instigated emergency powers because of the lockdown. So
what if Biden was chosen specifically to be the sacrificial cow, and they're gonna let the Republicans keep the House, or let the Republicans get the House and the Senate so that they can what do you call it?
Constantly keep people.
No, the word impeach him because of the laptop stuff. Like that's serious shit. That's enough to impeach any sitting president.
Oh, like in case he doesn't like drop dead fast enough,
or like yeah. So like they're like yeah, we're gonna make this election look really rigged. People are gonna hate Biden, but nobody will really think about Kamala. And then that'll give, Republicans enough to take the House and the Senate at some point and just remove Biden from office, and then Kamala will be president. Not, and not fucking put Hillary Clinton as vice president.
There's definitely more
nonsense, but
that would be funny, dude. Or not funny, but yeah, Kamala gets to go move up to president and then puts Hillary as vice president.
Yeah,
which is basically
the laptop
like
from Hunter Biden dictates an impeachment if Biden wins. Like there's no other way to deal with it at that point, because it's like this dude literally sells fucking government influence to other countries.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it'd be way more fucking, way better grounds to impeach him than anything they threw at fucking Trump. Just for his phone call to the Ukraine or whatever that fucking nonsense was.
I don't think they'll be able to do it fast enough because there's all this talk about making lists and re-educating Trump supporters and of the sort.
That is terrible.
I think they're going to use that as an excuse to go after people, and it's going to be a shutdown. And so there could very well be action to try and impeach him, but because this stuff can take a while to process through, and I think they're going to throw people in jail before it happens. And Trump himself is probably going to get thrown in jail as well. And for all
okay, so if they throw Trump in jail and they start throwing senators in jail, you will see civil war in the United States.
Yeah, that would definitely be an uprising, and I would hope
that's not an uprising. That's straight up civil war. You will see states literally make their own militaries and fucking launch attacks on the government.
Yeah,
I would
could
hope
see
the
that happening.
military would be okay with. I'd be okay with a coup. Oddly enough, that sounds crazy, but if the military stepped in to stop shit,
the military would probably be split. There'd probably be a fair amount of the military that would stand with the government just because it's the government and that's it, period. And then there would be a fair amount of the military that would be like, nah, we're not, we didn't sign up for that. That's just directly violating the whole basis of the Constitution.
Yeah, but again, as World War II showed us, the we're just following orders thing is not a valid excuse.
Yeah.
You know, so I would think a pretty significant majority of the military would be like, yeah, I can't follow this order. This is totally unconstitutional or whatever. I hope maybe I'm probably delusional in thinking that. I would hope so.
I don't know what's going to happen with the military. They're a bit of an X factor as far as I can tell. I'm pretty sure though that if I had to guess, they'd probably be upset with Trump going into there because Trump is the only president in the last little while who said that he wanted to get the troops back from Afghanistan. From Iraq or whatever, because they're still there. And I don't know if you remember hearing, but the Democrats lied. They told because he was supposed to. Trump said he wanted them to come home for Christmas. That's exactly what he wanted to do, and the Democrats lied to him. People, or not Democrats, but people in his area, they all lied to him about that because they weren't bringing them home, even though he ordered them to come home. I don't know if you guys remember hearing about that, but that was a thing that was also quite contentious. Like, why? Yeah. So he might not be able to live up to his promise of bringing the troops home, but that's not his fault.
Right? He ordered it again, like right after the election, I think.
Yeah, well, he that's what he's been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, and so like there might be a faction within the military that's anti-Trump, but I'm pretty sure there's a large portion of them that are pro-Trump. Because remember, there are people
pretty split. I think you'd roughly get 50-50.
Well, we have people who fought in the Iraq War, who are seeing their kids who joined the military, seeing them off to go fight the same war. And I'm pretty sure that's going to play a factor.
No, I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying if you take into account the Oath Keeper mentality and that some of those people make a lot of profit from war, there's going to be a fair, substantial amount of people that are going to want to stick by the government if that particular set of circumstances occurred. But I'd say an equal number are probably just fucking leave and join the states that are in rebellion.
Yeah. Literally just go AWOL if they have to, or resign.
I think the odds of the Democrats like legitimately trying to put Trump in jail is almost zero.
Yeah.
And even if some rogue faction in their own, like some random district attorney from some random state tries to do it, most likely Biden will issue a pardon. Or the governor from that state will issue a pardon.
Yeah.
Because it's just in general, like that's not something that's done.
I almost was going to say the Democrats aren't that stupid to try something like that, but they kind of are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would not end well, dude. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, even with Nixon, if I remember correctly, Nixon was not impeached, but he was removed from office essentially because he was gonna be impeached, so he had to step down. But if I'm not mistaken, didn't the person who took up the presidency after him just pardoned him?
Yeah, it was preemptively pardoned him, dude.
Yeah, because it was just one of those things where you don't put the president in jail.
Like, usually a pardon happens after you're convicted of something, and he was just like, yeah, I'm pardoning him in advance. Which is, I mean, I kind of see why he did it. Like, okay, let's just move on. Let this fucking guy die and keep his gain or wherever the fuck he lives.
Oh, yeah. Rotten Silence brought up an interesting point that, a lot of the laws have been put in place against guns. This is an attempt to sort of like prevent sort of that exact type of rebellion kind of thing.
Yeah.
That just would be so fucking bloody. Like, you would see bloodletting pretty fucking fast if they tried to fucking arrest Trump after Biden gets put in.
It would be a fucking insane thing to do, and I wish I could say again that the Democrats aren't that fucking stupid, but
That could be the thing that tips their hand.
yeah, because again, you have such an insane amount of fucking enthusiasm for the guy. I mean, the people that like Trump fucking love that guy, dude. Would gladly die for him, dude. So yeah, if they're not aware of that, if all they're listening to is their own side that fucking despises them for quite illogical reasons for the most part, they're fucking idiots, dude.
Damn, dude. I don't know. That would be crazy though.
Yeah, these are fucking insane.
I've heard similar rumors though before it was brought up here. I've seen some stuff where people are talking about like, oh, we're gonna arrest him and all this other stuff. I have a feeling though, I'm not entirely convinced that the election's not going to get overturned before Biden steps foot in office or is sworn in. Supposedly Georgia. What was it? Was it Georgia that certified the vote and then uncertified it?
Or
was that Pennsylvania?
There's one in Wayne County in Detroit in Michigan. There was like because there's like two
they all
Republicans
doxed them, and so they were like, "We certify," and then immediately afterwards they were like, "We decertify."
Yeah, they started threatening, like finding out where these kids were, and started threatening these kids and their kids and shit.
And even the certification isn't gonna stand in the Supreme Court if it's done against the state's own laws.
Yeah. Especially when it's pretty obvious it would be under duress.
I see what Ron Saunders you're saying, like the tear gas and other things. Of course they'll try to do that, but they won't matter because geographically we have enough military to cover a few major cities. To legit cover and lock down just a few major cities. That's about it. And maybe protect several more. But over the whole space of the United States, man, there's just no fucking way you could. Plus, rebels don't wear uniforms. Like they're not identifiable outside of, movies and TV shows and video games where they're like, well, you need to know who's on which side or it's not as like, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Didn't learn anything from Vietnam. like
what's that? There's
Vietnam.
Exactly. Well, there's like a video game where it's like a guy that goes around and he hacks everything and fights against this government group, and he just walks around in like jeans and a hoodie, like every other fucking dude in the city. It's like, see, that's the thing. The tear gas only works if you have open, organized, military style troops going down the street, and that's just not how war works anymore. For the most part, it's more door to door, fucking tactically striking with explosives, cutting supplies.
Yeah, guerrilla warfare, man.
Yeah.
Saboteurs.
I mean, that'll definitely put down some riots, though. If they actually start using tear gas on like rioters, because they're like, well, those are conservative rioters. They're not real people.
Yeah, they're not BLM approved. Fucking gas them. Dude, did you see the fucking? I think it was in like Virginia, where like I can't remember if it was a police chief or I think it was like a chief or something. Basically, had gotten fired because they had arrested people that were
they arrested and charged people. Yeah.
So they actually fired the guy because he arrested black people. I guess because they were black. Is that what? Or is it just
I have no fucking idea. All I know is, I'm absolutely sick and tired of this bullshit with this. This group gets to just ignore the law and nobody enforces it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's pretty sickening, dude.
Yeah, Ron Silence, just go into your bunker. Exactly. Fuck yeah. like when I talk about Civil War, I don't think it's gonna be awesome and great, and I'm gonna fucking hide because
it's fucking terrifying. Yeah. These fucking times we fucking live in, dude. Jesus Christ, man.
I do want to get a nice rifle though. Just a good medium power, short to medium range rifle would be All I'm looking for, just not an AR-15 because they're too fucking nutty about AR-15s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wouldn't
It
mind
really is
going
weird
somewhere
how
where
they
you don't
fucking
have to
like.
register.
I'm sorry. What about registered?
Oh, I was gonna say I wouldn't mind going somewhere where you don't have to register the gun and make sure that it's just not on the books anywhere.
Yeah, that's a tough. I mean, Arizona's are pretty lax, well, especially compared to California. But yeah, anywhere, you're usually gonna have to register the shit. You still got to be
I think
approved.
there's a couple of states where you don't. I just would have to look them up. Which we got
You don't have to
internet.
register a gun at all, really? Just certain guns, or are there places where literally you don't have to register any weapon? That can't be possible, dude. Even nowadays, I think that's crazy.
You know, he's 3D print a gun. Don't have to register
Well, maybe
anywhere.
you don't have to have a permit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I usually have to be registered somehow, or like you said, it could just be you need a permit and you don't really need to register the actual weapons.
Let's see here. I'm looking it up. All right, so actually, substantial numbers of states neither require nor prohibit firearms registries.
All right, that's encouraging.
So you can. These are the ones where you can go to like a gun show and buy like a good rifle and then not have to have it on the books. So if you're in a state where like they might actually try seizing guns, they wouldn't know to come to your house to take one. Essentially, is the only reason for that.
Is that gun show loophole?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You still have to pass like background checks. It's not like you don't have to fill out paperwork. It's just harder to prove you have a gun.
Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And you can also there's also plenty of other ways to buy like a gun that don't involve necessarily like the most legal of channels.
right.
That aren't
Yeah.
probably buying stolen weapons, you know, like because there's just so many illegal guns out there for other reasons.
Yeah, apparently, like gangsters and shit. Whenever a gun's involved with a crime, they essentially sell them off and then send them to like South America or something, and the opposite happens. Like guns that are used in crime in the South American countries get shipped up
Yeah.
here, or to, the other countries, basically.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. All sorts of crazy shit goes down with guns, man.
Yeah. If you want a gun, dude, you can get one on the books or off.
I just think, given the circumstances, I'm in California, it's better to have it not on the books.
Yeah, that's a good point, dude.
Although,
Sounds kind of, yeah.
just imagine Trump does finally pull off the courtroom victory. In like mid-December, late December, and just imagine the fucking riots.
Oh my god,
Christmas.
so fucking salty, dude. Like, it's gonna be. It would be spectacular, dude. Like as fucking crazy as it got the first time he got elected. Can you imagine if he managed to actually get it overturned? Which again, I think it's pretty obvious that he should have won the election without all the fucking fraud and shit. But goddamn, dude, he was freak the fuck out if that happened, dude.
He said there was all this fraud when he got in the first time, but I guess he's never really investigated it.
Yeah, that's what was really disappointing is because I'd said it for a while, dude, and I thought they did a lot of that shit last time, but they vastly underestimated just how unpopular Hillary Clinton was, and they didn't do enough.
They would have said a stronger
much here and this much in this state, and they just undershot it because she's a fucking horrible harpy who fucking nobody outside of Hollywood seems to like. And the establishment, I guess.
I guess if they left it with Bernie, they probably would have stand a better chance. But even then, Trump still would have won.
Mm-hmm. picking up my chewing. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's better.
Well, if we're lucky, we get Trump. I mean, think of it this way. I mean, even if Bernie gets it, not Bernie, if Biden gets in, I mean, he'll do his 4 years. He'll probably get impeached, and there'll be other shenanigans and other nonsense. But Trump's going to come back for another go. He'll be a bit older. He'll probably be the oldest person to ever run for president. I think. He's like
I don't know if
70.
I'd want to bother with it again, dude.
Well,
I would. If I was him.
I'd rather he just buy CNN when it goes out of business. Fucking run it.
That would be hilarious.
Name it the Fuck You Network. But like with an FUQ or something.
he could just be like really narcissistic, called the Trump Network.
Oh yeah, no. If he actually did, he would definitely call it the Trump Network. Yeah, Trump News Network.
Considering how many buildings and shit he's named after himself, that's a high likelihood.
The Trump News Network sounds hilarious. Although he probably won't, because I mean he's spending a lot of his personal money. Like he lost a lot of money the first time going for president.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't lose a lot of money in the sense like he spent lots of advertisement. He didn't have to. They sold a lot of hats and T-shirts and flags and stuff. So
yeah, merchandising.
Yeah, that did pretty well. But he, being president, I mean, he could have just been running the business and making money.
Yeah. No, he definitely took a hit, man. That's why. Yeah. It's really unfortunate how much they railroaded him, dude. Because since it started, I'm really curious what the perception would be of Trump if the mainstream media just covered him just somewhere near objectively, much less as antagonizingly as they have. You know what I mean? Because he did a lot of, especially early on, man. He did a lot of really good shit. His Supreme Court picks seemed to be really fucking solid. Actually recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Okay.
A lot of other shit I'm forgetting now because my memory sucks, but I'll have to watch that Karen Strong video again.
Provided we keep the Senate, the Republicans keep the Senate, at least the Supreme Court is safe.
Yeah.
This is true.
There's really nothing Biden can do to fuck it up other than pack the court. And then if the Republicans can maintain control of the Senate, that will be like the key thing.
The only problem, like, if Biden wins and Trump, let's say Trump tries again next year or next election or whatever, it's going to suck because if we let things go the way that they are, it's going to set a precedent. Like, the amount of fraud and all the other shenanigans going on here, if we let it slide,
yeah,
it's going to say, oh, well, we did it last year, it was fine. And I think like the previous election when Trump won, the fact that it slid, it didn't go well. It just sort of said, yeah. I mean, we brought in dead people and dead people's names and all this other shenanigans. But hey, we did that last year. So what's the problem?
Yeah, they really did it. It was so blatant this time, though, man. Like I said, I think they just figured like this is the only chance we have. So if we get caught. Like, we're definitely not winning if we don't do this. So, fuck it. Let's go fucking crazy with it. Let's have fucking thousands of dead people vote in fucking Detroit.
Yeah, if we don't address it, it's going to still be a problem. I mean, if Biden... Like, I hate to say it because it's going to sound alarmist, but if Biden wins, it might be the end of America. And that's just because he's going to implement more lockdowns. He's probably going to do other granted he'll be limited because he won't have the House and there won't be too much he can do. But everything he can do, like if he puts in, let's say, Emergency Powers Act for like the coronavirus stuff, he might be able to do like what Justin Trudeau did, because Trudeau he has a minority government.
If Trump didn't do it, if Biden tried it, it would fail because the courts and Congress can block it.
Yeah, that's what's great about the fact that you got the 3 Supreme Court appointees, dude, is the fact that can pardon the phrase, but Trump, anything Biden tries to do that's unconstitutional.
Okay, well, I hope so. I don't know. Like
He'll
we have,
He'll fucking try, and fucking Kamala Harris will fucking try. She's a fucking authoritarian fucking lunatic too.
I mean, maybe like the warning here for I'm giving you from Canada here is that we have a minority government, which means that Trudeau here cannot just do anything he wants. It has to be debated within the House, and then there's a back and forth, and then it goes through if both sides agree because it's part of a minority government. You have to share the power. But he's enacted the emergency powers stuff with all the COVID things going on, and as a result of that, he essentially gave himself supreme power. As much as the other side wants to stop him, we can't. Now, I don't know if there's similar things in America. There probably is on a state level, which is,
It could get blocked in the federal and the Supreme Court, and Congress can also step in and put a quash on it. There are ways.
There's
to
been
do
a
it.
few
It's
of the
not
COVID
common, but yeah.
There have been things that challenged, lockdown stuff that's been challenged and struck down, right?
Oh yeah, the mask laws have been ruled unconstitutional to enforce. So oddly, they can be in place, which is not very correct, but they're unconstitutional to enforce. And I don't think that was the Supreme Court. I think that was a state Supreme Court that ruled that one, though.
Right. But yeah, the courts either way struck it down.
But it's a precedent now. So once it's been set by like a high enough court, it's sort of like unlikely to get changed, even if you went all the way to the Supreme Court.
Right. Either way, man, it's fucking crazy times we fucking live in. Just utterly absurd. So if this is a simulation and whoever's running it, like, fucking knock it off. Turn off the utterly absurd setting, dude. Not a good cheat code.
Don't you know they're trying to make it as bad as possible because they're trying to set up the Great Reset. Don't you know?
Oh, yeah, Great Reset. They're actually fucking. Who's it? The British guy, one of the princes or something over in Britain, was saying, literally using the phrase, dude, the Great Reset.
The Great Reset. Yeah, there's that World Economic Forum, and there's that German guy, which he sounds like a fucking supervillain. I swear, guys, he's like, "Woo, it's time for the." Huh?
Was it the guy that's literally wearing like fucking weird priestly looking robes?
No, or I don't know.
I gotta find it because there was a guy that literally was like a head of like something like that, the World Economic Forum, that was literally wearing these fucking robes that literally looked.
I want priest robes. Like it's my uniform. I want to wear fucking like priestly robes.
I mean, he may have. I don't know. I don't know what this guy's done in his past. All I know is that he sits there. He talks about like this crisis is an opportunity to do the Great Reset. And essentially like these emergency stuffs are just going to keep going on to like 2030. Because once this crisis, this virus crisis is done, there's going to be another one, and then another one, and the goal is to lessen the population and to make the bunch of people more compliant, so that way you'll be more willing to go along with whatever it is they want you to do.
Yeah, they do kind of. They seem to have that down pat of just constantly throwing shit out there to distract us from the shit that just happened. I mean, dude, go back to the Epstein thing. How long did that last? We all knew that the dude was going to get suicided in jail. It actually fucking happened, and we've all forgot about it within like 2 fucking weeks because other shit just fucking distracted us.
For sure. Well, think of it this way: the lockdown was only supposed to go on for 2 weeks. Flatten the curve, so that way the emergency services don't get overwhelmed with the amount of people coming into the hospital and all that. 2 weeks. It's been like 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the fact that everyone's gone along with this, you go outside and people are wearing masks, and they're still going along with it.
No, even in California, people are starting to not wear masks. Or just wear them like over their not over their nose, which is just the weirdest one.
Yeah, well, because people find every little way to get by. But here in my neck of the woods, everyone wears masks, and it's just every time I see it, like God. And now, of course, like what was it Toronto and Peel region over here has done another lockdown, and I thought, why? Don't and, I
I'll
don't know
tell you
if I've
why.
ever
I'll tell you exactly why. It's to kill small businesses.
indeed.
This
And
isn't
yeah,
about
that's the
this
guy.
isn't about people. This isn't about lives. This isn't about anything other than eliminating more small businesses so corporations can step up and take more of the market.
Oh man, their
What
profits have
fucking guy
been.
is wearing, dude?
Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't
wearing
know he wore
priestly
red.
robes. That's fucking hilarious.
I can't see. I'm surprised.
Insane, dude.
I wonder if across the back it has like up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start. The fucking
The
Konami
Konami.
code.
You know what his name is, Samaj? Because I'm trying to find a picture of him in those.
It's like
It's this
Klaus
Davy
Mo-
Croco
having-
3 on the YouTube channel, but I don't know if that's the channel or what.
No, that's the channel. Yeah, I
Oh,
just
okay.
wanted you to thumbnail. You don't have to watch it. I
I
just
think
wanted.
it's like I think his name is like Klaus von. Can't quite pronounce the name.
That's von Bulow. No, I'm just kidding.
That might be
All
it.
right, no, I'll find it. He's the head of the World Economic Forum, though, right?
He
Yeah,
does look like
just-
a quest giver out of a video game, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, he's gonna send you on a fetch quest, dude, for sure.
He's going to send you on the Great Holy Crusade. I mean, just type in the Great Reset, and one of the things will be there will be the World Economic Forum. If you click on that, he'll be there giving his speech. His name will be there. He is legitimately a James Bond villain. Everything about because he's talking about changing the world and changing the way people live and all that. Like the way he's planning it. Like this guy is what villains. This is what they aspire to be. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why you would think those robes are a good idea. That's so like insane to me, dude. Like it's funny, but it's like kind of scary too.
Well, these
Why
are
would you
people
dress
who
in that? You're right in the economic forum, dude.
I
You're
think
not a
deep,
fucking priest.
I think deep down they think they're doing good. Like this is part of the problem with like no religion, because they're without religion you start acting in religious ways in some bizarre way. I know it sounds funny to say, but he's the way he looks, and the way he's behaving, it's almost like a priest. Like you might not be religious, but my God, you're acting awfully religious. And that
Well, no, that's the thing. Is ideology has essentially replaced religion. It's essentially the same shit. It seems to have the same illogical, delusional fervor to it as religion does. So whatever he's into, I don't know how the economic shit works into, but yeah. Fuck, man.
the economic forum. It's a bunch of world leaders and billionaires and all that. The world's leaders and financial movers and shakers. They just all get together and talk about how can we engineer the world and how can we make it a better place.
It's sort of like the fall of Rome. They're not looking to make it a fair place. Let's be clear on this.
Some of them might,
They may
but
be
nobody
paying lip
that's
service to that. They do not give a fuck about making anything fair.
Well, I think,
Their goal is to make everybody be serfs and then be like a fucking ruling class.
I think what's going through their heads is that the ends justify the means, and
yeah,
the
because
ends
the ends
are
is they get rich and everybody else gets. They don't just fucking. Who cares about everybody else? They claim,
they
we're
probably
doing this for everybody, but nah, they're not.
well. The disturbing thing
I
is they
think you're
probably
over-
go for it.
Go ahead.
I think like they don't like they probably don't even think of it in that sense. I do think that these are people who think they're doing good because they've been brainwashed themselves into thinking, well, the environment is a terrible thing, and or the environment is in this terrible state, and we have to change the way we function, which is part of the reason why it's the Great Reset, because we got to get off fossil fuels, use renewables, and all this bullshit. But none of that stuff's like if you've ever looked at the numbers for green energy, none of it's sustainable. None of it is. The only way it would be is if the population decreases. Like I'll give you an example.
Okay.
They have
All
those
right, so
solar.
you're talking more about like environmental.
Well, that's the one that they did say if you watch the video, they talk about the virus stuff, but afterwards they gotta tackle the climate. And so the virus is a means in which to tackle the bigger issue, which is the environment.
Yeah.
And they actually think that this is an important factor.
Honestly, I think. God damn it! Am I coming through? Because I got a really low signals here. Are you guys hearing me?
No,
Okay,
you're fine.
We hear you, but you keep talking over us.
I think. Yeah. Well, there's a delay or something. But well, I want to break. Well, okay. Yeah, go ahead and finish. Sorry.
No, I'm done. Go for it.
Oh man, I think that's kind of naive. I think these people are kind of evil and just want to be in control and make money for themselves and get power. I think some of them you might be right, or actually want to do good. I think most of them it's about control and authoritarian fucking nonsense.
Well, it could be a combination of the two. I mean, it could be that a good portion of them actually believe this nonsense.
I think the lower on the totem pole, the more likely they absolutely believe and have faith, and the higher up, because there's less and less of them and more power at that point, it becomes more and more about just the power and the money.
Well, you have to remember, like, not all these people, not all these multi-billionaires are elderly people like this guy. A lot of them are also young.
Yeah.
And like I would say maybe even in their 40s or 30s.
Like Jack Dorsey probably thinks he's doing the right thing.
Exactly, but you have to remember, like the environmental brainwashing has been going on since then. Like when I was a kid, the thing about the environment was the hole in the ozone layer. All right, I don't know if any of you guys are old enough to remember that, but that was the thing at the time. They talked about the hole in the ozone layer must be mended, and this is why we got to start.
They scare the hell out of you. They're like, the world's gonna fucking burn to a cinder, and you're gonna die a horrible death.
Yeah, but then like all the evidence shows like that's impossible. Here's how this works, here's how that works. So then all the evidence came through, and then they shut up and stopped talking because everyone was listening to the experts, and not the doom theorists. And then it moved on to like global warming, or whatever the other, or greenhouse gases. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh well, at this point, I think most of this is coming from communist spies that are fucking influencing us from China.
Well, I've heard it said that.
To be fair, the vast majority of all of it.
Well, see, I've heard it said that the global warming stuff is a scheme brought on by China, but around the time when all this was going on, like talking about all the environmental kind of stuff, that is around the time when they started making deals with China and moving their factories out there.
Yep.
So it's a little there's quite the coincidence. You could say it's a conspiracy, but at the same time, that's when we started sending out our factories, and then they started sending their people over here to do stuff too. Money may have exchanged hands, and there you go, global warming.
I think the whole shebang, social justice stuff altogether, the environmentalism, the weird gender shit, the weird like we have to suddenly respect like everybody who has some sort of mental illness as if what they say has some sort of fucking useful purpose, like I'm fine with people expressing themselves. I just don't think we should be taking all these people who clearly have mental health issues like seriously.
There was a guy who wrote a book called War. I can't remember if I'm saying it correctly. It's like War Without Boundaries, and it's a Chinese guy. He was talking about because they said in the book, in the first series of paragraphs, was talking about like, should China go to war with America? They will lose because America has superior firepower. So the only way you're going to win the war is if you break them apart from the inside. And he lists all the various different things, one of which being go after the culture. Mm-hmm. And how do you go after the culture? Well, you tackle the arts. What do we see in the arts? Well, comic books suck because they're invaded by social justice. Movies suck. Cartoons suck. All this stuff sucks because it's been invaded by social justice. You could say that this book...
Colleges and universities suck.
College education was another one. Education, to tackle the education. And through tackling the education...
Again... Go ahead, I'm sorry. I keep
No, on the points was, of course, like education, one of which is also tear apart the family unit. Well, what's going on right now? People aren't like the family units, like divorce is like at an all-time high, and then what's going on with the younger generations? They're not hooking up. So then, so essentially, the goal was to play the long game, so that way, like, all we have to do, because if it wasn't for the coronavirus, things were going according to plan. Just wait out America, and then they won't have the numbers in the military because people aren't breeding, they're not having kids, we're not replenishing our numbers. Same thing here in Canada, and so the country and the population are weakening through the arts, through the population, and all that kind of stuff. And once our numbers are down, then we're sufficiently weak. Then you go in for the attack because in China, what was going on? Their numbers were going up. People were having more kids. So then they were about to outdo us in numbers, and then the coronavirus hit, and now we all know. And then of course Trump's talking about China and all that. So you could, if you're saying that social justice is a factor of China, I think so. I think there's enough evidence, at least some evidence, to suggest that could be it. So
I'm sure Soros is part of it too, but I
yes.
genuinely think it's by and large a communist plot against the United States.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds fucking crazy pants, but
well, it's what Yuri Bezmenov fucking warned us about in the fucking 80s about how to demoralize a nation and how it takes at least a generation because you have to, you infiltrate the fucking strategic spots, which again, I think education's the biggest one because you're influencing the future leaders that are coming through the universities. You're brainwashing them to this fucking communist fucking nonsense. And again, selling them on it with like an emotional attachment as opposed to like just a logical, straightforward one. So it's a lot harder to break and make them, you know what I mean, to make them see reason.
Well,
and it takes a while before older people to die and these younger people to start taking over. But it's pretty obvious that's what's happened. So it was probably China now, but I assume it was started by the Soviets back in the 70s and 80s.
It's also the other. I mean, it's like Saudi Arabia is the other factor that. I mean, in the Middle East and in China, they've also been hugely contributing into the education system. Like all the major colleges and universities in America are going to be under investigation because they're taking in money from China, which apparently is a no-no, but apparently that's what's been going on. And not to mention, spies in like virology and other kinds of stuff have been discovered within the colleges and universities, the students. They're taking all the information they're learning in the colleges and universities and sending it off to China, which is why they developed all these technologies. They had no way of developing it on their own because they don't invest that much in education. They just send their people off over here, and then they take it all back. It's the same thing with doctorates and dentistry and all that. Like here in Canada, all of our doctor schools, like medical institutions, are all filled with Chinese people, all Chinese students. And once they graduate, they go back.
People from India in there too.
Yes,
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. They do that as well. They send them all onto there, then they get their education, and then they go back to their place of origin. And as a result, we, the local population, don't get the benefit because usually you get, if you fill the schools up with the local population, they're going to grow up and go out to the population, take care of people. As a result, here, I can tell you this right now here in Canada, if you want a family doctor, they're all going to be old, right? There are no young family doctors in Canada, at least in my neck of the woods anyway, because all those positions were taken by foreigners, and they're gone.
Yeah, they went back to their countries.
Yeah. Like my friend, his brother wanted to be a dentist, but all the dentists, and he's Chinese, by the way. So his Chinese brother tried to become a dentist, but all the schools are filled up with like students from China. So he had to go to Australia because that's the only place he could go. So a local Chinese guy had to go to Australia to learn to be a dentist. Go figure.
Damn, dude.
He can't study it here. He fucking hates like he keeps hearing from his brothers like he fucking hates Australia. He hates the weather. He hates the animals.
Everything can kill you.
Everything can fucking kill. Well, because he's used to the Canadian temperature. It's always cold here, but it's like it's always hot over there. He can't stand it.
We got a Mad Metal Man. Yo, what up?
Here we go with our tinfoil hats and our conspiracy theories.
I don't think it's tinfoil hat, man. I think it's going to come out in the end of the day. Maybe I'll be dead by the time it comes out, but I think commies are behind the SJW movement.
Yeah, I would be shocked if that wasn't the case. It's like you said, the SJWs are coming from the college. I mean, they're coming from the colleges, which are being influenced again by China and that kind of shit. So yeah, it makes sense.
But also, they're being covered by the press. They're basically being bought and sold to China from our billionaires. And there's also a lot of money coming from China going to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Google, and making a ton of their fucking money out of China. And suddenly, all those things are going the way China wants them to here as well. I think they're taking money from China in exchange for allowing China to make policy decisions on their stuff that happens in the U.S.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the main reasons they want Trump out so much, is because he was starting to follow the money in year 4 of his presidency, and I think it's very complicated, and it would take at least another 4 years to get enough for an actual you're a fucking foreign agent. Like Jack Dorsey, guess what? You go to jail.
Ted Cruz keeps going after him. She's really fucking going after that guy.
I both love that, but I hate that at the same time, because I don't trust the anyone going after social media right now, because a lot of it's just political posturing. I feel for when they want to try to run for president at some point or another.
I bet you that's why Ted Cruz is going after Dorsey so hard.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Don't get me wrong. I think he's right to go after him, but I think because right now, whenever it gets brought up, one of the things they keep bringing up every now and then is potential regulation, and I think that's a bad thing, because if you regulate them, because the regulating social media would mean a certain amount of money has to go into this stuff. The big companies like Facebook and Twitter and Google, they can afford to be regulated. If you want to do a startup company, you can't afford it. It's going to crush all competition. The only thing you'd have to do is switch them from a platform to a publisher, or whatever, or however the system is.
Reclassify them.
Reclassify them. That way, if they fuck up, they can be sued. And I think there's a lot of people who have a bone to pick with social media, and rightfully so. That's what they got to do.
Well, YouTube made a decision recently that I think is going to result in a gigantic lawsuit. So you know how YouTube likes to just demonetize people for political reasons?
Mm-hmm.
And you know that they just said they're going to start putting ads on demonetized material.
Yep.
I mean, they didn't say demonetized specifically, but on not monetized. So anybody that doesn't monetize their stuff, some of these ads are going to start playing on some of these demonetized things.
And they get to keep the money.
Yeah, they're going to slapping them on, dude.
That is a very, very clear-cut case of unfair business practices and fraud.
Not only that, they're going to put ads on channels that aren't even monetizable. Like for instance, I only have because you need 1,000 some people or whatever else to get so and so amount of views or whatever to get money. Well, they're going to put ads on everything. So you want to, so my videos might have ads on it. And I'm not going to see a cent of that. Yeah. This stream could probably have ads on it too. You're not going to see any money of that.
The standard practice is to pay people, and you change it so that you don't have to pay people, but you still get to make money off of their work. Well, that's not going to fucking end well for YouTube. That's just not how that works. Not in the fucking US.
I don't know if they've changed that yet, because maybe someone brought that up, but they could also be doing it to try and raise money, because anything could happen right now. If they get labeled as a publisher and then they get sued, they're going to need that money. And YouTube doesn't really make them any money, so how's Google going to survive this? I'll be back.
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be fucking nutty.
Very abrupt, dude. Nice mic drop, dude.
That's the sound of shit.
Yeah, it's absurd, dude. I can't believe they're trying to do that.
Yeah, that blows my mind. Because the second they start putting ads on people's stuff, if it's been demonetized for whatever reason, and suddenly they're making money off of that shit, ooh.
Yeah, or people like Styx. Like Styx had a good video about it. Like he just chooses not to fucking run ads on his shit, but they can easily throw him up whether he wants them on there or not, and not pay him. Yeah, it's fucking insane, dude. They're just not.
It's the kind of policy
Fucking
that a
world
company
sucks
who
now,
feels
dude.
they don't have to follow any sort of morality or law comes up with. It's like I worked for this one place where I think I've told the story about I had a buddy that broke his fucking arm throwing a football. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for that company,
Right.
and then directly after that, they're like, people aren't allowed outside the building on their breaks. It's like, nah, you can't fucking do that. That's against the law. It's not up to you. They get to take their 10-minute break outside if they want. But it's one of those things that was just like absurd, and it's a similar sort of concept because that company, while for the most part a great company to work for, every so often would just come up with these things where you're like, you clearly don't understand the law. Like you just, not only that, but it's like you're trying to piss off your employees, and that's a dumb fucking stance to take. I remember chatting with the owner at one point, and he was like, God, I hate these fucking boxes that everybody puts their shit in. I wish I could just fucking throw it all away. I'm like,
damn,
yeah, dude, right on. I was just like, fucking whatever.
Yeah, that's really too bad. Poor you, buddy.
It was pretty funny. Well, I think he was pissed. Everybody was pissed because for a couple days running, some people have been microwaving some pretty rank fucking fish stuff.
Oh God!
I don't know if you've ever worked with like first generation
obnoxious.
people from like Thailand and Cambodia and China and fucking like fucking Korea, and
India.
Shit. Nah, we didn't have any Indian.
India's
dudes.
got some ranky.
We didn't have any Indian folks. We had all we had were Asians.
Yeah. I'm just naming stinky foods, dude.
Oh no! I was just saying, like
countries.
we were lucky. We didn't have that whole combo. Because yeah, Indian foods can be real fucking gross smelling. Oh. Delicious though. I fucking love me some Indian food. But
yeah, I've never really tried much of it, dude.
It's still
probably
Indian
the
food,
exact opposite of that.
Indian food doesn't fucking stink as bad as a lot of the fucking weird fish stuff in Asian food.
Yeah, that's true.
There's something
it's
about
definitely
that
a different
fish
kind
steak
of
that
stink.
just takes it to a whole nother level.
Well, it's incredibly potent for some reason. Fish, dude, in general, is just fucking incredibly potent smell, dude.
Like fish sauce.
So, yeah.
Oh goddamn! You ever smell fish sauce like right out the bottle?
Yes.
Gross as fuck.
It's pretty
However,
strong, pretty pungent.
However, you put that stuff in some food, and goddamn, does it fucking make it better? Depending on the right dish, and you got to apply it correctly.
Right. Dude, I made some. Well, this is just speaking of food in general, but I made some ribs the other day.
Ooh.
And because they're on sale for like $2.99 a pound or whatever. So,
fuck yeah,
dude. Okay, so I make them. Yeah, dude, and ribs are fucking super easy to make, dude. You know what I mean? Because you don't have to like constantly stir anything or
low heat. Cook them for a long fucking time. You can do them in a crock pot, an oven, a smoker, a barbecue, any fucking way you want.
Yeah, but dude, I was looking up recipes because I kind of like to try it different ways each time. And this one was talking about like after you do the long cook or whatever, you put it under the broiler for a little bit, kind of get a crispy outer shell or whatever.
That's what we do.
Okay, so I did that because they were saying to do it for like 20 to 30 minutes at a time, which seemed extreme, but okay. So I check it after like. Yeah, that particular one. So that was bad advice. But I put it on for like 12 minutes, I think, 12 or 13 minutes.
That's still a long time.
And I came back. Yeah. It turned out it was, dude. It burned it to a fucking crisp. There was like an outer shell because I put a bunch of barbecue sauce on it. So all the barbecue sauce just formed a big layer of fucking charred fucking nonsense, dude. I had to literally cut it off, dude.
So when you do that,
barbecue.
For future reference, the way we do it, we'll cook it low and slow in the crock pot usually because it's just easier and we don't have a smoker. And then we'll put it on a pan and we'll
Right.
put it under the broiler with the barbecue sauce on and shit. You leave the oven
Right.
cracked and you fucking watch that mofo because it might take 30 seconds.
Oh yeah.
You just watch
Yeah,
it until
no,
you get to the
I've
right
learned that
color or pull it
lesson for
right out.
sure.
It takes a minute or two at the very most. Yeah, you don't want 12 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. Holy fucking shit.
Dude, yeah. Now that I look back on it, I should have known better.
It was a
But
charcoal recipe. You just
I don't
didn't
think
know it.
I've rarely used a broiler in the actual oven. Like I've used it in the toaster oven, which is
Oh, it's a
obviously
great way
way
to
less
cook
potent.
steaks.
Right.
You can cook steaks on a broiler, under a broiler, the fucking ribeyes. Oh, goddamn. You can get them real good. Again, because you
that
literally
makes it
leave
really
it open
good
and crack.
medium rare.
Leave it open and crack, and you just fucking watch. So you know exactly when to
Yeah.
pull that open and flip that shit over because you're watching it get to the point where you want it. You're like, oh yeah, that's exactly the color.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, luckily, like, it was a pain in the ass, but I was able to at least cut away all the, because it was just like almost a solid fucking char, dude. As you can
Yeah.
imagine, being under
But it
a
sounds like
fucking,
it was just barbecue
and I didn't
sauce.
realize, yeah, it was mostly the barbecue sauce. So at least I was able to cut that off and actually re-sauce it and save it and salvage it. And they're still really good. Luckily, is then my mom wanted me to go get like 2 more racks, and I ended up cooking those this morning. Oh my god, it turned out so fucking good.
I think Matt
It's
Mello,
literally you can just peel it off the bone, dude.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I
No,
mean?
that-
Like,
that's-
you don't even need
if-
like a
if-
fork or anything.
if you can't do that, you didn't cook them right.
Yeah, because I don't like eating it off the bone. I mean,
No.
I don't really mind it, but I like to just scrape it off of or peel it off.
I like eating the fucking cartilage.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of like weird, thicker, like almost solid, like jelly kind of meat part. I like eating
Right,
those
right.
things. But
Yeah,
I like Matt
and I didn't
Middleman's
realize.
thing. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, I was gonna say, like, a lot of the places, a lot of the recipes don't mention that there's like that thin membrane on the underside.
Oh yeah, that you gotta
Um,
cut off.
Yeah, but not a lot of recipes mention that. Like, I didn't know that for the longest time, that you got to kind of cut that, and you can peel once you get it going. Like, you can just kind of peel it off in one big chunk.
It's not hard to take off.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get it going, but once you do, it peels right off. But yeah, a lot of recipes don't fucking mention that, dude. It's weird. But yeah, like, that's kind of the hardest thing, because all you do is essentially, once you peel that off, you season it, you throw it in, and you're fucking just let it cook, dude.
Yeah, cook low and slow.
It's super fucking easy. They turned out so fucking good. And they're pork, because usually I do the beef ribs.
Oh, that's weird.
But honestly, they don't taste.
We almost always do pork ribs. I'll have to try some.
Dude,
beef ribs one of
honestly,
these times. Just switch it up.
For some reason, there's not much difference. Like, they almost taste exactly the same.
Barbecue sauce.
It's kind of weird, dude. Because again, no other cuts of pork or beef taste like each other.
Yeah.
But for some reason, pork ribs and beef ribs taste really similar to me. But either way, yeah, because
I'll just have to try some beef ribs and see what I think. Woe is me.
Yeah, either way, they're fucking awesome, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I like Mad Middleman's comment. I walk away for 2 minutes and bam, food portion. Like a video game.
Oh, damn, dude.
Oh, my mom just got this fucking, there's like, it's like a 4 or 5 inch deep pan, and it's like fairly big, and it's a lid and it's cast iron, but it's like laminated or lacquered or whatever. It's got that sort of like enameled, yeah, like enameled finish on the outside of it. It's like a braising pan or something, I think it's called. And holy shit, we've been cooking up some crazy great meals with that. Like, my mom did some beef short ribs, although they weren't barbecue. They were cooked a whole different way. More almost like a pot roast. And I did a pork shoulder roast that came out pretty fucking like fork tender, spoon tender even.
Yeah.
But it's great.
You know what's really good too? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you just like fry up your fucking like aromatics or whatever. Throw in your meat, brown the sides, and then just fucking throw in like a couple inches of liquid and whatever, like, root, potatoes or carrots or whatever else you're gonna put in there. Cover that shit and simmer it all day, and it comes out amazing every time.
So two weird things happened while I was away. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, two weird things happened. I was on Twitter, and I saw that that Donald Trump, because you know how every time he tweets they say, "Oh, this claim has been disputed," or other sources say otherwise, or something like that. But now, so I was going to say before I went to the bathroom, I was looking on Twitter and it was like, "Oh, they stopped doing that? Oh shit! The last time they did it was like yesterday. Oh shit! Oh okay." And then as soon as I get back, I look back. I was like, "Oh, no, they're doing it again." Or they just maybe I just didn't notice. Maybe my thing wasn't all that good. And then the second thing I noticed, I saw pictures for the next King Kong versus Godzilla movie. I gotta say, I'm not happy.
What the fuck?
It's like a fusion of the two, and I'm not happy about it.
Are we gonna get a King Kong fucking Godzilla moment?
Oh, wow.
Wait,
holy fuck. They bred together?
I don't know what the thing is. Like, okay, so it's King Kong versus Godzilla. I don't care who wins. I'm gonna go see it because it's gonna be a fucking good.
I don't care who wins, but they shouldn't rape the loser.
Exactly. So I don't know what happened. I like, okay, look. What's probably going to happen is they're like, well, we don't want to offend anyone on either side of this thing, so we're going to end it in a tie. But it can't just end in a tie. They both got to win. So how are they both going to win? Well, we're going to make them fuse. How are we going to make them fuse? Well, that's for the story to tell.
They both fucking
you got to work a love story in.
No. They start the fight. They get to a point where they're deadlocked. They both stop for a second, put on like this big cartoon style lipstick, and then kiss, and then that just fuses them into one creature.
Secretly,
it's gonna be so goddamn romantical.
They say Hollywood powers activate.
I think you guys are just closeted homosexuals and keep going that way. No, what we're gonna get is probably the closest thing to a fusion dance. They'll just do the fusion dance, and then they'll combine and become one being to tackle whatever big bad is happening at the time.
No, it'll be anime. Stupid. It'll be anime. They're fighting, and Godzilla falls down, but his paw lands right. Or no, but Godzilla falls on her back, and Godzilla lands on her, and his paw like hits one of her boobs, and he's like, "Holy shit, this is a chick!" And it just goes anime from that point. And like it's straight like fucking romantic comedy anime, where they're like going around and like showing off for each other, like blowing up buildings and shit, all romantically.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of hope it's like Station from the Bill and Ted movies, where they just fucking somehow just run into each other.
Would definitely be less offensive. I'm just really fucking stoned, and that's hilarious to me. Like Godzilla and fucking King Kong just banging it out.
I can already imagine form fanfic on that, dude. Jesus Christ.
The furries are gonna go fucking nuts.
Oh man, I saw these pictures and it's like, dude, it's gonna go bad. Look, my problem with the first Godzilla movie, by first I mean the more recent solo Godzilla movie, is that we barely got to see the monster. It was always focused on the people. I'm like, I don't care about these people. I want to see monsters going around destroying shit.
Yeah, I don't even fuck about anything else in that movie.
Up, man.
Yeah, the whole point of those movies is Godzilla knocking a fucking building over, and you'd be like, "Oh, motherfucker, he knocked over that building."
Well, you see, the cool thing about the King Kong movie, or Kong, or whatever it was, is that you still got like this cool landscape. I mean, you have like big monsters, because King Kong wasn't the only big thing. There were like giant spiders. There was other giant critters. They were in a jungle, and I mean that's an interesting scene all by itself. There's
and they made King Kong almost like a fighter on our side.
Exactly, and then there was like other kind of big, like that movie was cool onto itself. Godzilla not so much because it's cities and we're focused on the humans. Like, I want monsters is what I want. So
yeah, I want them to fight other monsters, or I want them to fight fucking like blow buildings up and shit, throwing tanks and shit.
Well, the only good thing about the Godzilla movie is they had what's his name from Breaking Bad. I can't remember his name, but that guy was in there. He was
Cranston,
good.
Bryan
Yeah,
Cranston.
Bryan Cranston. He was good. I could go through a Bryan Cranston stuff, but he wasn't the main focus. He was just sort of a story device, and then he dies. Like
Yeah.
spoiler alert to anyone who doesn't see the movie. Like he was the most entertaining part. They should have kept him out throughout the entire movie instead of focusing on the son. But ugh. Anyway,
Oh yeah, what you gonna do?
a lot of missed opportunities with that one. That's for sure. Um, and then the next Godzilla movie comes out, King of All Monsters, and it's very much the same problem because they're talking about the human story and focus on these terrorists and like, it's not interesting. I want the monsters. The monsters were cool, but kept panning away from the monsters. It's like Godzilla is sidelined in his own movie. Let's focus on the people instead of the character of the movie. I want Godzilla. Anyway, that was just me thing. Also the other monsters in the second Godzilla movie were a little too cartoony. Like they looked cool at first, and then they had like this king ceremony towards the end, towards Godzilla. Spoiler alert again. And like it's so fucking cartoony. You're fucking monsters. What? Why are you having a king ceremony?
Mothra using their wings as like a fucking dress.
Yeah, definitely.
Going out for a night on the town.
Godzilla was prettiest princess. Yeah.
They're gonna have a fucking tea party in like Paris. They all show up in their pretty dresses.
Well, yeah.
I'll be fair. I'd watch that movie. Godzilla, King Kong, and Mothra like putting on dresses and going for a tea party in Paris. That's a fucking movie you want to see.
Oh fuck!
Like there's all the same amount of destruction, but it's all just incidental. Like they don't mean to do it.
No fucking way.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're fucking in the city, I mean that's gonna happen. Damage is gonna happen.
Oh man,
Can't be helped.
I mean, fuck. I think you guys are too focusing on the fucking because you're looking at the fucking pictures I posted. It's like how does this?
You can't show a stoner a half Godzilla, half King Kong hybrid and expect anything
monster movies he loves. Fuck you guys.
It's just so fucking ugly. I'm just oh god. And what's funny about so I follow a Twitter account. It's all about kaiju's, and they focus on all the big kaiju related material, and they come up with some really awesome kaiju shit.
Twitter.
Yeah, it's a kaiju Twitter account for sure. It's fucking awesome, but this is not awesome, and I know this is Hollywood, and this is official stuff. Oh boy, do I not want this!
Oh Lord.
I know why they're doing it. I'm looking forward
to see how that plays out. Do you think it'll go Sonic? Because like the original Sonic like models and shit, they got leaked, and the whole internet was like, "Fuck you, no," and they changed it.
Yeah, what the fuck is this nonsense?
Yeah, they changed it. So I wonder if this will be like a similar thing. Like this gets leaked out to the internet, and the whole internet goes, "Fucking no." And then the people making the movie are like, all right, we'll take that out of this. We'll take that out of this.
I think it's going to be an unmitigated meh because none of these movies have really hit the big bucks because they're trying to make a big cinematic universe and with these giant kaiju movies, and they're not hitting. They're all flops. I mean, I shouldn't say flops. They made their money back, just barely, but they're not doing very well. The only one that's done well, and not well in the sense of theaters, but afterwards, it would have to be Pacific Rim. Because Pacific Rim didn't do well in theaters, but it did really well in DVD and Blu-ray sales.
What they really need to do is they need a kaiju movie that involves kids.
They already did that.
Piloting robots.
They already did that. That's Pacific Rim 2. It's stupid.
No, but that's because they took something that was already established and just tried to fucking shoehorn kids. I'm talking about like a legit like a fucking anime style Gundam thing where it's all like high school kids or junior high
I'm,
kids, because
I'm
then
going
they
to
can
tell you
appeal to
right.
that younger market. Because then that younger market will
Uh,
be more inclined to see themselves as the characters in the
I'm going to
films.
tell you this right now, just so you know, that will not sail. Kids do not want to see themselves on there. Kids are always thinking about what they want to be when they grow up, and what they want to be when they grow up, what they want it to look cool. This is why kids like adult characters. Kids
Yeah,
don't want
that's
to
why
be.
you put
Kids
in
don't.
kids in the movie that actually are cool.
Okay, all right. Well, let me put it to you this way: they that same thought pattern was what they
Oh,
used when they came up with Robin.
but you got to
Kids.
remember when I'm talking about kids, I'm talking about like '80s kids, where they're all obviously in their 20s, but they're playing high school kids.
I mean, maybe, but
Because that's the kind of shit that works, man.
I wouldn't necessarily go in that sense.
I think if they put it
Like,
focused it around like kids getting powers and shit, they would probably be better off. More like Harry Potter, but
I'll
with
put it to
giant
you this
robots
way:
instead of wands.
like another example is like, kid. One of the things that a lot of young people like are they because they want to grow up to be the cool guy. Optimus Prime is clearly the adult in the room when it comes to anything related to Transformers. Kids want to
Yeah.
be Optimus Prime. That's been a tried and tested formula throughout all of Transformers.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who else you put in. Kids want to be the big guy.
Ooh.
They want to be Optimus
Although
Prime.
something to do with aliens other than the Transformers, like actual like fucking boogity boogity aliens, like coming in flying saucers and shit. I
I
think that's a
mean,
market that hasn't been tapped in a really long time. That has like a lot of potential for if you wanted to make a kaiju thing.
sci-fi is a really hard one to sell, and I don't know why. Usually it wasn't hard to sell, because like for example, Star Wars, lots of aliens. You think that would do well, but the modern day Star Wars stuff, kids don't give a rat's ass. They don't care. That's nothing new to them. Same thing with um,
Ooh.
what was the other one? I can't remember the other one. But in any case, I mean, it's just kids. No one's able to sell a sci-fi. Now, granted, sci-fi.
Aliens that kidnap animals, like the ones that are always abducting like cows and shit, and the fucking the sort of joke is that they're always abducting cows, kind of thing.
Well, one sci-fi that's done really well, and it's multi-generational, is the old-fashioned Star Trek: The Next Generation. And the reason being is because Star Trek.
Oh yeah, I just
Uh,
started rewatching that. I got through the first season, and I'm like, this is fucking great.
well, the funny thing is with Star Trek. Okay, so adults back then when it was first airing, adults liked the show. Kids at the time didn't quite get it because it's adult dealing with adult concepts that kids don't really get. They like the uniforms and the aliens. They think that's kind of cool, but they don't get the story. They don't understand it. But now it's on Netflix, and kids back then who watched Star Trek when they were younger, they're watching it now on Netflix all over again, and they fully get it. And
I
that's it.
watched it when I was a kid, and I got it. I loved it.
Well, man, maybe you were a bit older. Who knows? Maybe you're just the right age to get it.
Oh, what year did it start in? Because I'm pretty sure I was a kid.
It was '90s or something.
Oh,
I'm
maybe I
sure.
was in high school. It could be.
Well, and there's also
Yeah,
next
it was
generation.
I definitely watched that show all the time when I was, when it first came out. I fucking love the next generation.
Well, it was great. The problem with the next generation,
The Next Generation started in '87 and went into '94.
'87. Oh, okay.
Shit, really?
So when I was 7 years
Yeah,
old,
no,
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it would have been '87. So I would have been about 11. So
Okay.
Yeah, so I
18.
was 7, you
That
were
sounds
11,
about right.
old man. But we were both like kids, like little kids when we watched that shit, and
I
I
think you
loved
and I
it.
were both. I think you and I were both around the same age or close to it around then. So, yeah, it was one of those things that you didn't quite get, but you liked it all the same. And nowadays, and let's say they were younger kids who also didn't quite get it, they're watching it now. Like Star Trek: The Next Generation is being rewatched by people in their 20s and all that. They fucking love that show. And thank God The Next Generation was as good as it was because it's probably the only thing keeping Star Trek alive, especially the newest Star Trek that they're doing right now because
Oh
it's
yeah,
probably
Picard is apparently real fucking bad.
I think it's been canceled. It's been outright canceled because they can't
Yeah.
they were hoping, because they saw the numbers. Next Generation is doing really well on Netflix, and so they thought, well, let's bring a Picard show. This should be, a slam dunk, and it wasn't. No one fucking liked
yeah,
it.
from what I understand, they basically, like the reviews I've seen, they turned it into an action film, like a really long action movie.
Well, that's one
And
aspect.
that's Star Trek was never meant to be like karate kicks and fucking laser fights. It was always meant to be this slow moving intellectual exploration kind of thing of like the battles are very much like submarine battles. They're like all this stuff behind the scenes, that one final strike kind of thing, not like this.
They also stuffed it with a bunch of gore, because apparently they're trying to rehabilitate an old Borg cube, but they're ripping out people's eyeballs and other such things. They're making it as gory as possible.
They basically just went the wrong way. They went like Star Wars direction.
Not to mention, for some reason, the Romulans are treating them like space elves. They have like this deep mythology and magical kind of thing. They do this great thing where they predict the future.
For the fucking Romulans?
Yeah.
Space elves.
They're space elves. Yeah, they are totally space elves. One of the new characters is a guy with a sword who chops people's heads off and does a total like Chinese martial arts kind of nonsense.
Oh man, do they have a fucking Legolas? Is there like a little bow toting fucking Romulan?
Yeah. Little Legolas. Yep. And then they're piloting a ship. And the guy who pilots the ship has like
you know what that guy's there for, right?
I just don't fucking
sell it in
care.
China. They gotta have a guy doing the martial arts stuff to sell it in fucking China.
Doesn't work. No one likes it. Obviously
it doesn't work, but that's why they fucking shoehorned that bullshit in there.
Mm-hmm. And then they bring back Seven.
And again,
sorry, what was that?
I was saying no black guys on the posters, because like for Star Wars, they wouldn't put goddamn, what the Boyega's character, the stormtrooper guy that turns
I know who he talks about.
He wouldn't. They leave him off the posters in China, like the movie posters.
Yeah,
which Chinese people are not the.
Which it sucks, because you watch that first half of that movie, you could tell Finn was supposed to be the main character, and like this guy, he's force sensitive. He figures it out, and I love the idea of like a stormtrooper.
Yeah, if they'd made him the main character, that could have actually really salvaged that film, because then it wouldn't have mattered if Rey was such a fucking, ridiculous character, because there would have only been parts where they came in to basically just be a Deus Ex Machina as opposed to being the focus of the film.
Like, if you take someone like Finn, and a guy who's a stormtrooper, he's been conditioned, he's probably killed hundreds of people, he's gone through all these different trainings and whatnot, and then he gets awoken, as they said, like the conditioning was broken. It's like, imagine having to deal with that, like the personal anguish of like, I've been a murderer my whole life, I've been brainwashed and all this. Yeah.
Or does he go the other way and be like just shut down emotionally?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Be like a cynical, like, I'm gonna fucking kill whoever.
Maybe,
but I'm gonna do it on my terms now.
It could be one way or the other. I mean, he's force sensitive, and who knows what that means. Is he gonna have like a Luke Skywalker mode? Like,
well, the Force got ruined in that the minute they were like, it's bacteria.
Well, I can ignore that.
Little Timmy is penicillin. He's got a case of the Forces again.
Well, okay, I could have ignored that, because that whole thing was back in the prequels when they had all the science technology, and then most of the Jedi disappeared because they were all killed off.
Yeah.
So they're like, and then not only that, the temples were all destroyed. So like finding old Jedi information is hard to get. So they're starting from square one if new Jedis were to come around. So like you could easily, because midichlorians, the whole concept could easily have just now been erased.
Yeah, fair enough. I think what they really ought to do is just drop the new stuff, let it be over, at least for the time being, and go back and tell some of those old legends that are referenced throughout all the movies. of like the first Jedi warriors, the first Sith warriors. Like, go back and explore that, how that all started. I think that could be like potentially a good move for that series, because it would take it completely out of all the Empire stuff and allow them to basically create a whole new world, because the Star Wars world is really tiny if you think about it. Even though it's this big universe they could travel around in, what they can do in a film is such a small fucking sphere. They don't have any room to really stretch out the old story and make anything new out of it. But whereas if they took the world and just said, all right, we're going to go way back to the fucking before any of that shit ever happened, and this is a whole different story with whole different players, they could just create a whole much larger world to play in.
Well, they decanonized all the extended universe shit or whatever,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They could go back and do that.
That was fucking ridiculous.
I think it was just a case of there being so much that it would just be virtually impossible to like write, and not make a bunch of fucking mistakes in the film. And so it's easier to just be like, we're gonna hire whoever to write this, because we don't actually give a shit other than the merchandising rights and making money off of this shit. And it's cheaper if we just say all that shit doesn't count anymore, and then hire some hack writer instead of like having to hire somebody who really knows Star Wars really, really well and really cares and knows all the lore.
Dude, that reminds me. Apparently, there's a writer of one of the early Star Wars books that since Disney purchased, the shit from Lucasfilm or whatever, or purchased it, decided that they weren't going to pay royalties for the books. Like they weren't, they didn't have to. They took over the company and they felt like they didn't have to keep paying the guy royalties for the books they were still printing and selling.
Oh,
I just heard about it forget the fucking dude's name, dude, but
yeah, I imagine he got a lot of money in the ensuing lawsuit, or will in the ensuing lawsuit.
It's been stretched out for like a couple of years. You know how they do that shit. They've been stretching it out for a couple of years now, dude, apparently.
Hoping he'd just go away.
Yeah. Yeah, like how do you think you can take over a business like that and then like you don't owe the fucking people money that were getting paid royalties, dude?
Oh, remember like Disney, Pixar, and like a couple other studios, if I'm not mistaken, were all setting wages together for animators.
Jesus, dude. Yeah, Disney's just fucking, man. Ugh.
They're evil.
Never trust Yeah.
But I hear The Mandalorian's still pretty good. I haven't seen any of the season, much of the old one, but
I've seen the second season so far. I'm actually surprised they haven't gone to Galaxy's Edge yet. Because they said they're going to go to Galaxy's Edge because they want to sell the theme park. And I thought we would have seen it by now. So, it hasn't happened yet. I will say that last Star Wars, the last Mandalorian episode 4 of Season 2, is fucking golden. I love it.
Nice.
It's like, this is what Star Wars was supposed to be. I'll tell you that much. Instead of all this bullshit we've been getting.
I think we're approaching like a fucking melting point when it comes to a lot of the entertainment. Because there's so little that's coming out that's even remotely interesting or decent, that even with a dumbed down population, at a certain point, it's just gonna fucking utterly and completely melt down. Like there's gonna have to be a crash at some point where it's like this stuff just cannot be sustained anymore. Because it's just, I don't know where they're making the money. Is it like imaginary magic money? I mean, because so many of these things bomb.
Well, I think what they're thinking is that if they get the streaming money, is that you pay your subscription, and then they'll go to them, and then they allocate it to different projects. Problem with that is that there's too many streaming services out there, and there's going to be another one, like more coming out down the pipeline. So
yeah.
For instance, if you pay your cable bill, which might be like $100, give or take, including the internet or something.
Oh, we were paying $200 a month just for cable for a long time while my dad was alive, and that was just to get like your basic cable and like the sports stuff, and like one set of premium channels out of like 10 different options.
Well, prior to that, like when we just had Netflix, it was like what, $15 a month
Yeah,
or
Netflix is
whatever.
still like 15 a month, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like everything all at once. Like why would I bother with cable? But
Yeah,
now you have all these different streaming services, and if you get them all, it's going to be $100 a month if you want to get them all.
yeah,
And
they're basically
with
just
pe-
trying to charge you the same amount you were paying for cable,
and with the
but it's
amount
the
of
internet, and only an idiot pays for this shit at this point.
exactly, and so I think that's something that they're not taking into account. So there's really not that many people buying this stuff. With that said, I think the real money is, especially nowadays, is in physical media because like this is why like we may see a return of like DVD and DVD extras because back in the day like a DVD is like a little mini film school. They talk about all the different trades and secrets and all that stuff, and I fucking love
Oh
DVDs.
yeah, I used to go listen. I used to spend a lot of time when I was working graveyard shift watching director's commentary stuff.
Like you love that movie, well watch it again with the director's commentary,
I
and
did that
then
shit so many fucking times now.
it was great, and they're wonderful tools to work from. But they stopped doing that because it's all on YouTube. It's all physically able to get. But the reason why I say physical media is probably the most important is because people have heard, like we've all heard the stories right now about how movies are being edited or scenes are being taken out because it's offensive to this or offensive to that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're hearing all this stuff and people are panicking because these are beloved movies. Like be it Disney movies, these
Oh
are
yeah,
things that people fucking love. And if you're editing them and changing them and taking stuff out of them, well, that's not something that they like, and so people are deeply offended by that. So they're buying up, from what I've heard, like people are buying up old copies of DVDs of movies. Even VHS stuff is starting to sell. And man, I
yeah.
like
I
that.
mean, you want
That
to keep that original version of it. You don't want the shitty fucking edited version anymore.
exactly like Gone with the Wind now comes with like a warning or something at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why the fuck? We don't want that. We like these movies are good, keep them as is. But in the age of digital media, they think they can just change it whenever they want.
yeah.
And this is where I kicked myself in the pants because like I think I swear it was like 4 maybe 5 months ago. I was on Gaming and Yelling stream and I talked about a dream I had where it's like I paid out money to I bought a business and what I do is I make VCRs because people are going to buy old tapes and I sell old movies. I go at pawn shops to buy movies and then I make VCRs that people would get. And I was like, that was a stupid dream. I should never have done that. And then I look at what's happening and people are buying up old VHSs.
Yeah, well, and
And
they
nope,
still sell VCRs in like fucking like Walmart and Target and shit.
maybe in your area, I don't know. Like it,
It's usually
it
like a DVD VCR combo. Like you can still find
I
them.
I can't find them here. I tried looking for them. I even asked the store clerk. It's like they just don't make those anymore. Is what she told me.
Really?
Or I can't get them in Canada. I don't know. I can't find them. I might
I
find one
wonder,
at a
even on
pawn shop.
Amazon? That's crazy.
I think Amazon did have VCRs. Let me look it up.
I'm talking about the DVD VCR combo.
I mean they might. Uh,
Oh wow, for like $1,000 fucking.
see, I told you.
They are price gouging the fuck.
Like if I could make VCRs and make them for cheap, then people will gladly like it's like when I heard about record stores. I'm like, who buys a record player? Those are like fucking ancient, but there are stores all over the place. People are buying records, and that was my logic when I
Oh,
had the
records have sold for forever.
well, yeah, and they're coming back to
Yes,
the
you can
infinity.
get a Panasonic silver forehead VCR for $675 right now off of Amazon. Oh, I got 479. So the lowest one I found that you can actually buy is like $479,
Just for the
and it's a
combo.
renewed one.
Oh, here's one. Okay, that's $181 for a VCR.
Yeah, even I just looking for VCRs on Amazon, and that's Amazon though, so I'm sure you can find.
Like I'm sure I can go on eBay and find them.
Yeah, for
Um,
like a few $100.
hell, I could. Well, I want to say I could walk into a pawn shop, but pawn shops don't even take VCRs anymore. But who knows? Maybe they will now.
I did not know this would be a thing. I'm fascinated by this now.
Oh yeah, physical media. People are buying it up. There was a website called the Digital Bits.
Oh, Target doesn't sell VCRs anymore. You're right.
Yeah, they're hard to come by. Maybe I should see if anyone wants to give me some venture capital, and I'll make VCRs and I'll sell them online.
Oh, you can find some VCRs on eBay for like $100, $200.
Yeah.
Amazon is just the people fucking trying to profiteer and shit. Or you can find a Betamax recorder. Wow, where you could take a VCR and record it on a Betamax.
Hello, kitty cat. What do you want? Oh, you want your treat. All right, all right. Sorry about that.
I wonder if VHS is easier. I wonder if you can just find a VHS player.
Right. I posted that. I haven't watched that actual video, but I couldn't find the one that I originally watched, so I just tried to find one that was relatively short. But yeah, Alan Dean Foster, I guess, is the guy that had written the books that Disney's not paying for.
I believe it.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can run a company like that into the ground, dude. It's fucking spectacular. Not in a good way.
The only reason that they're having as much trouble as they are is because they bought Fox. That was the biggest blunder. That and investing money in like live action remakes, terrible idea. Huge waste of money. I mean, yes, you made money, but you didn't make that much money. And if you saw these live action remakes they did, they do not look very good. Like on Disney Plus right now, you can get the live action Lady in the Tramp movie. It's an ugly looking movie, not very good. And that
Yeah, there's a
Aladdin
bunch of
movie.
people selling VHS tapes. I'm fucking blown away by this.
See, yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Okay, I missed my opportunity. Should
Star
figured out how
Trek
to make
VHS collection for $300.
Yeah.
Honestly, people would be better served by finding like the digital copies of the original unedited versions of the films online at this point and save that.
Maybe. I mean, like DVDs themselves will also be pretty good.
Yeah.
Like old DVDs.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've got a fucking I don't know, like almost 1,000 DVDs. I think some fucking crazy amount.
I think the one DVD I have that like as just a DVD in general that I really enjoyed is the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes movie.
Nice.
It has like this anime, like they went out there and filmed guys in the suits doing all the like when you're selecting options. It has an actual animation of the ape holding a staff and going up and down and selecting with the cursor. It's fully animated. Like they spent a good chunk of money on that DVD, and it shows, and it looks great.
No, bad monkey. Oh man. Oh, I gotta share this. I'm playing this video game, and in the video game, there's a blacksmith that built a colossus, like a giant fucking metal robot, and then suddenly got these glowy tattoos, and it's never fucking addressed ever again in the game. Like the colossus at no point gets used for anything. It doesn't fucking walk around. It doesn't fight the big bad guys. Just they're like, oh, there's this giant fucking robot that's over here. But that's it.
It's never explained, dude. That's funny.
Never fucking used in any way.
You can tell where the budget got cut.
Yep. Well, the last game their company made was basically similar. Like you didn't at the end of the game, you fought one of the big bad guy's minions. This big bad guy that they built up through the story of the game the whole way through. You fight one of his minions. It alludes to there being 3 more of them, and then the game's over.
See that happening.
It just the games themselves are like super fucking easy, relaxing little like you're farming and collecting things and then talking to different people and just like, oh, you need this, let me go get this, little fetch quest kind of things. So it's like super like chill, and their mechanics are pretty solid, but their writing leaves a lot to be. Dana Gould.
Yeah, dude, that he has a really good take
point,
on
and I
the
stopped
Star
listening
Wars
to him. I have to give him another chance.
Well, yeah. No, his take on the Star Wars, and this was way back, I think, like shortly. I think the prequels still hadn't all come out yet when he does his take on it. But he has a lot of really good points about it, because he talks about there's a scene like in the movie where 2 people are talking, and then like this little fucking robot thing comes up and starts washing the window, and he's basically like, anybody that knew what they were doing would say like, cut, get that the hell out of there. And he's like, George Lucas actually paid money to put it in there. Because at one point he's like, if he was doing Jaws, he would have like, the Jaws eating people, but then there'd also be like a pelican fighting a hang glider.
Yeah.
Except when he does it, it's funny.
I mean, but it sounds right. Like that was like the big part of the newest Indiana Jones, the Crystal Skull one was obviously the way it was because George Lucas had way too much of a say and Spielberg didn't really get involved.
That's the big part of his point is just like people need to hear no. Some people need to hear the word no, and nobody was telling George Lucas no.
Yep. Like, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a really good take. If you get a chance, check it out.
It's like, don't let George Lucas direct or write a Star Wars film. Just let him throw ideas out and then take the good. Like he's great for just throwing fucking ideas out there, but you don't want to listen to all of them.
And maybe that's why The Mandalorian was so good, because he's not directing, but he's clearly on set and probably in the writer's room giving ideas.
Yep, but Disney's probably calling the shots and saying exactly what, the end, making the final calls.
Well, the big thing is, like, how do you keep it within budget? And they came up with some really good ideas. Like, that whole series is, like, filmed in one room. They're not actually on set with anything. They have, that old school way of doing things in movies? They have a projector. So, like, you'd have guys in cars, and then they'll just be pretending like they're driving, and they can't even see the screen behind them because it's a projector on a canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they essentially did that, except they made, like, a whole room like that, and they have, like, multiple, like, projectors all over the place. And so when they're walking, it's just the camera projecting terrain. And a lot of the... Yeah, and that's the cool part about it. And that in doing that, they film an entire series and not having to go anywhere. They only even have to do green screen.
That's actually pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's a whole bit about that on YouTube. You can look it up, like how they made The Mandalorian.
Sweet.
But they did say you get fucking vertigo filming things that way. Because
yeah.
If you turn your head and the entire world is moving, or at least the like from what the audience can see, it is like one perspective, and when you're looking around, you see an entirely different perspective. They like if the actors get away with it, they just close their eyes because they get such a vertigo looking in that place.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would really fuck with your head.
Oh man,
there would definitely be a learning curve. Like the first few episodes or scenes you shot would definitely not be as good quality, or maybe that's the one they pick when you're like injured and you're like suffering, so you can be like, close your eyes and fucking wince or whatever. Give yourself a minute to be like, oh, get the fucking vertigo under control.
Like one of the good things of being the Mandalorian and wearing the helmet, it's like no one has to actually see your face. So
Oh yeah.
you just have to say the line, and you can just do it with your eyes closed.
I wonder if everybody else is like fucking jealous. They're like, I fucking hate him. He can
So
close
I
his
bet
eyes all the time.
they are. But at the same time, like the actors, I don't know if you heard, but there's some drama on the set.
Oh no.
Well, what ends up happening is okay. So the actor, because he's trying to build his career, and you're the lead in this big popular show. Great, but no one sees your face. So let's say you want to audition for a movie. Well, they're not going to recognize your voice. They might, but most of the time you're not going to do that deep. Like,
Oh
oh,
yeah. Then they gotta like advertise the Mandalorian actor, which is not as
exactly.
effective as just if your face is just immediately recognized.
So exactly. So he can't really use the Mandalorian as a thing to get more roles. It's because he wants to be an actor, and so part of being an actor is doing multiple roles. But you can't do that if no one sees your face. So that's part of the reason why actors
Didn't he
usually have
take the helmet
clause.
off in the last part of the first season? I thought you actually
He
saw his
did.
face.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was able to take it off once. Um, but apparently it wasn't good enough. And part of the other problem is like, okay, you're the lead, but what's everyone talking about? Gina Carano and Baby Yoda. No
Yeah.
one gives a rat's ass about the Mandalorian.
Oh, I love the Mandalorian. He's the best part of the fucking show.
Me too, I think so too. But that's not like if you're the actor and you're going on social media and all you see are feminists talking about strong female character and ooh woo, look at this Baby Yoda.
Ooh woo.
I don't know if they're actually saying that, but
It's the Baby Yoda ooh rific, as Mad Metal Man would say.
exactly, exactly.
Did
But
you
yeah,
see the feminists freaking out about the chicks, the females' body armor, Mandalorian body armor having like cut for boobs,
yeah,
and freaking out because they did that?
yeah.
That annoys me
Really,
from a structural
just
standpoint. That's like not a really good shape for armor. Like making like the actual boob shapes, but in as far as like the way it looks in film and stories, it's fucking awesome looking. So
That's a character
Yeah,
from
well,
like
yeah, because the show, the thing I was watching about it, the video or whatever, was talking about how body armor in the army doesn't have any allowance for chicks with tits, and the women in the army would really like to fucking have that, so their fucking tits aren't getting scrunched up and smushed down by the
no,
body
they
armor.
really wouldn't. Like
That's
structurally,
what they say.
they need to wear something oversized and padding below their breasts to make it work.
and
Because
also like
structurally, if you start adding angles and stuff like that, it's going to stop being anywhere near as effective.
the character you're
What if they
talking
want
about.
stealth, dude? They got to have a bunch of angles. Stealth body armor. Okay, I'll stop.
The character you're talking about, she was in the Clone Wars, and the female Mandalorians did have like boob armor, so it's not like it's
Yeah.
something new.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's old
But-
fucking news.
yeah. Well, it was Anita Sarkeesian who brought it up, but it's like clearly you never watched the Clone Wars because clearly she did have boob armor,
Well,
and female
and who
Mandalorians
fucking
did.
cares about Anita Sarkeesian? She's not relevant anymore. I mean, the
Exactly.
less we fucking get involved with her shit, the better.
Well, she's the one who brought up the boob armor
Yeah,
nonsense.
that's
So
what I'm saying. We should all just
yeah.
ignore fucking Anita Sarkeesian and let her fucking career die altogether.
It's
And
already
go on to
gone.
like fucking scamming old folks out of their fucking retirement checks or whatever bullshit she's gonna move on to next.
Indeed. Before we move on, the last thing I wanted to mention on the Mandalorian
Oh yeah.
is that okay? So the third nail in the coffin for why he's having all these problems is that the toy line got released, and when he got to see the Mandalorian, you get to take off the helmet. The face is fucking ugly. It's ugly as fuck. And the guy was just not. He wasn't having it. He's done. That's part of the reason why he's got the problems. Is like he's getting sidelined at his own show. The only thing anyone wants to talk about are characters that aren't him and aren't related to it. He's not going to be able to use this show to get other roles. So it's like, why am I doing the show? Yeah, it's a paycheck, but I mean, the reason you do the shows like this is so you can go on to do even bigger and greater things, because that's how you make more money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So like he's not going to benefit in any way doing the show. So it's like,
I don't agree. I think if he sticks it out and the show ends up running for like 10 seasons, he'll have enough name recognition at that point that people will be like, this is a solid actor. We can count on him to
well,
fill roles, and he could build a career that way. I think
I
if he
think
quits now, he's going to be seen as an ungrateful piece of shit, and
I
no
think
one's going to
he's
like him anymore.
I think he's scared of getting typecast as like a Star Trek character. If you don't know, Star Trek Next Generation did so well that the actors could barely get roles doing other things because they're always known
Oh
as
yeah,
that
it's a fair
character.
point too. Yeah, he ended up being like a
Right, like
forever
Brian,
fucking Mandalorian guy.
exactly. But like Brian
But
Singer,
having his face not shown very much is actually to his benefit at that point,
I mean,
because it
it
makes it
might
harder
be.
to be typecast.
I mean, it might be. Who knows? I mean, Brian. I was going to say like Brian Singer. He plays Data in Star Trek Next Generation. He fucking killed that role.
Spiner, not
Brent
Brian
Spiner.
Singer.
Sorry, my
Oh,
bad. Thank you.
Actually, yeah, I'm actually okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
He totally did do that. I mean, okay, he's a great actor. He's a great actor, right? And he's really good at what he does. But he was typecast. He killed the role as Data. And then everything he does, everyone sees him as Data, and he's sick of that.
Yeah.
And I could see that. And the guy's like Pascal, whatever his name is, he's probably scared he's going to be typecast. And you're right, having the mask on can save him. But
yeah,
they'll
because if you
probably
didn't have Luke's baby blues and luscious blonde hair, there's no fucking way people would have typecast him as Luke Skywalker as much. He wouldn't have been anywhere near as appealing, you know?
yeah. Well, he had two roles in pop culture. He did Luke Skywalker, and then he did the Joker in the Batman animated series.
Oh, yeah, and some really fucking terrible B movies.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen The Guyver, but he's pretty fucking bad in The Guyver. I don't know if he was typecast so much as just like there's two roles he could play, and that was basically the entire limit of his acting ability.
I mean, everyone sort of thought, like, why is he doing all these terrible roles? But it's like, that's
Well, you're just a shitty actor, dude. Like, you got the
if
Joker
you're-
dead on, and you pulled off
I
Luke
like-
Skywalker real well, but
I liked his cockknocker character in the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
oh yeah, when he's making
was
fun of
pretty good.
himself, that always comes off well.
I think he sort of thought, like, he's not going to be taken seriously no matter where he goes. He'll always be seen as Luke Skywalker. So, like,
Yeah.
why take the acting role seriously? That's why he's
Yeah,
doing all
probably.
these handy roles.
I wouldn't at all be surprised if he's like, I'm gonna phone this bullshit in. It's a paycheck.
Indeed. Like, I don't blame him for having that point of view. With that said, I think it's sad. I wish he had, like, other roles to do. I mean, hell, if I was in Hollywood making movies, I'd probably find a role for him.
Oh
I-
yeah.
Like, one of the great things about Star Trek is, like, if you watch that show, people fucking act. These are, like, actors. The
Send
roles
him,
they huh?
I was gonna say, send him a letter asking him, like, dear Luke Skywalker, I would like you to be an actor in my film.
Dude, if I was doing a Star Trek series, I'd like, hey, you want to come to the dark side and do a Star Trek episode?
Oh, that'd be great.
I'm sure, like, I don't know how he'd feel about that. It's like, well, Star Trek? I don't know. I'll piss off the Star
Well,
Wars
what was
people.
it? Shatner
I'll
did
say I'm
that
a traitor.
Star Wars fan film where he pretended to be like the guy that would get them like secrets to get onto the plans to get into the fucking the studios. I forget what they're called.
Maybe. I don't
George
know.
Lucas's lot or whatever. Yeah, his own private studios.
Like, if given a chance, man, give me a chance. Make me a producer. I'll fucking put a movie together for you.
Oh man.
My first movie will be a train wreck. Don't get me wrong. It'll be like Space Wakanda. But after that,
Man, I got thousands of ideas for fucking movies, man.
I mostly want to do stuff that are comedies because I am starving for good comedy. Like
Yeah, yeah.
no one's making a funny movie anymore. No one.
Not Skywalker Ranch. That's what it was. Thank you, Nostradamus.
There you go. Like if you want to watch a good comedy, the best you can do is watch comedians on Netflix. Watch Dave Chappelle. That's all you're gonna get.
Go back
Like
and watch comedy movies from like the 80s. That's like your choice. Or you can even go back and watch old fucking comedies from like the 70s, like fucking Cheech and Chong and shit.
the last movie I went to, I looked up.
Today. You know what I mean? That's way too offensive to remake like a Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
Like the last
that
movie
Serious.
the last comedy I went to go out, I looked online to find was the original Scary Movie.
Yeah, wow.
And
There has not been a lot of good comedies since that came out. You're right. That's a little daunting to think of.
That is a raunchy comedy, and it's like no fucks given. Like we're just gonna do whatever. I guess the only other thing is South Park, but I'm thinking more or less
Scary
like
Movie have that scene where the chick jacks the dude off and gets blown across the room by his cum.
Yeah.
It was just like a fucking geyser. Just fucking launched her.
Gaming wanted me to use the picture of the guy just because he became so emaciated and drained. He wanted me to use that as my profile, like for after I nutted for No Nut November.
Oh, after November's over, fucking
Yeah,
the
it's
first
like
day of December.
or the next time I get laid, one or the other.
Oh, that's fucking funny. That poor fucking blue potato kid. I know he's not a kid, but he's in his fucking early 20s. That's a kid to me. I just think that kid never fucking grew up all the way, and he just needs to fucking get thrown out into the big bad world for a year or two just to like learn.
I remember growing up watching movies, showing kids in high school, and they were all guys in their 20s, and the women. It's like nothing about this makes sense. And then I actually go to high school. It's like even then, I'm like, you guys all look like fucking children. Like, why am I here?
Yeah.
I thought by the time I got to high school, I mature somewhat. Maybe I'd have a car or something. None of that. None of that.
Oh god, I had a chick in high school. Not a chick in high school. I had a chick in one of my high school classes whose goal in life was to fucking be a drug addict for fucking sex. To like sell sex in order to like fund her drugs. That was her.
Wow.
You know the funny thing is, I know what
She
you're talking
took
about.
that a set of attainable goals, I guess. Fucking nailed it.
She definitely could sell sex for, I'm sure, a good 5 to 10 years after high school before it started to drop off in value.
I imagine so. That does not surprise me. I've seen girls like that too. I remember that back in high school. It's strange that's an actual goal, but
like a verbally stated goal. Like that's the part that makes it weird. It's not that that's their goal as much as weird, because you would assume that there's probably people who have that goal, but to just outright say it as if that's a socially acceptable fucking thing to say to somebody.
I think part of the reason why they think that is probably like she probably didn't have a father growing up.
Oh yeah, she was very typically. I'm sure she did not have a daddy.
People who don't have
fucked up.
Yeah, people who don't have like fathers growing up, they tend to go in bizarre positions. One of which being is like, okay, there's no man there. What are we supposed to do? Because the goal of parenting is like the mom takes care of the kids, like nurtures them, make sure they don't die, that kind of stuff. And then when they get mature, it's up to the father to show them like this is where you go in life. Like be a firefighter, be a this, be a that, be a nurse, be a that. Because guys are all about because we make money in the household. Like because mothers are like stay-at-home moms, they take care of things, they make sure everything works, and the guys are the ones going out there earning the money. And so when the kids mature, they want to know, how do you make money? Well, who do you ask? Probably your dad, because he's the one making the money.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have a father, then he's not there to help you figure out your plans in life, and so you start to panic, and so you go with what you know. It's like, well, what do women do? Well, they they have sex, they have babies and stuff. So then the kids start to panic, and they think like, and then same thing with similar things happen with the boys, in that they think, well, I have to do like they go after like masculine traits. So like you have to be really aggressive and all that. If you look like gangster life, and you look at the way that they behave and all that's because it's like, I don't have a father, so they're essentially panicking. It's like,
Oh my god, that's perfect. Not just as a homage, well, that explains black people, and you just immediately went to like gangsters being that way because of it.
they don't have a they
too
don't have a
perfect.
father. Yeah, they don't have a father, and then like rap culture and all that stuff portrays like hyper masculine fantasies about having cars and all that stuff, which is what they're missing is a father figure, or at least a goal in life. And what do they want? They want money, they want girls, they want fancy cars, fancy
Oh yeah,
clothes.
because the fucking rappers like driving around in their fucking Mercedes and all that shit in the
Exactly. And
videos.
so then they portray a kind of life that they think that's what they want. With that
Well, too
also
many
said,
people see the prize and not the fucking work that goes into getting there. You know what I mean? Like they don't see the guy spending
well,
like thousands of hours making terrible fucking raps.
and then if you think of the household, like what is a father going to do? He's going to give you an allowance. He's not just going to give you that money. What are you going to do for it? Well, mow the grass, vacuum the floor, do the dishes, you do your chores, and then I'll give you money. You'll learn the value of dollars.
Yeah, that's how we got paid for our chores,
Exactly.
and
You know,
we also that's how we earn time on the television.
exactly.
They would give
And
us
then
like
if you want,
fucking lima beans, and every like dried lima bean would be like 30 minutes of TV. So you had to do chores to earn like TV time.
yeah, yeah. So you need TV, you need be well, all right. So you do your chores to get that. Or if you wanted money, you go out and get a summer job. Summer jobs were a big thing. So, and then the father would help you figure out your how you do that. And without a father, I mean, like a lot of people think like there's white privilege and all that. It's like, well, not really. It's just certain people have fathers in their lives to help them figure
Yeah,
out things. And a lot of people who don't have fathers, they just don't help figure out these things.
or like my dad who just told me I was worthless my whole life.
I
That's
mean,
good.
yeah,
Those are
I mean,
helpful too.
I mean, they can be helpful in their own
Right.
way. I mean, like a lot of people tend to think like, fathers are very abusive and all that, and that's can be true, but it's better to have like an abusive
Well,
father than no
everybody can be
father.
abusive. It's not like that's only a trait for fucking every father.
Well, even if a father is abusive, there's two things that comes from that. Either, let's say you have a case of a boy, a son. Well, he'll either grow up to be just like him, or they'll know enough to know I'm never going to be that. It's one or the other. But if you take a kid with no father and no understanding of where the limits are when dealing with relationships, chances are he's going to be in a violent household. That's the other thing. Like kids, and boys who grew up without fathers end up becoming abusers in their own ways because they don't know where the limits are, and also probably because mom's dating a bunch of guys because she doesn't know how to make good choices when it comes to men. So they just sort of grow up thinking that way as well.
Yeah. Oh, Nacho says you got paid for chores.
Exactly.
Like
Fucking
that was
got
like he
paid for
says that's fucking
chores.
crazy. The reason it started is I'm the oldest in the family, and I was the one who was taking care of the kids a lot of the time. So there's no way I could have worked a part time job and also fulfilled all like the babysitting duties. So I got paid for like babysitting, and I got paid for some of the chores that I did. Some of the chores were just like you just got to fucking clean up after yourself and help clean the fucking dishes and shit. Like you eat here too, so don't fucking whine and cry if you got to do dishes a couple nights a week.
At least you had that option. I grew up on farms with a single mom, and she was out working all the time.
Yeah,
And there's lots to do, but you ain't getting paid for shit.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, both my parents worked. That's why I got paid for what I did. So
not to mention if you have a single mom, no one can help you out with things like getting a driver's license or you're actually getting a vehicle. So like
oh
all the
yeah, my
other
mom was the worst fucking teacher. She tried to teach me how to drive. Oh god.
oh yeah, I've come to realize women are not good teachers.
She
Like
took me
or at
to a
least when it comes to
fucking
life.
Like, she took me to a parking lot that was full of hills with a fucking 5-speed stick shift to start driving, and I'd never driven, like, a stick shift or anything ever anywhere else. And I was just supposed to figure it out.
God damn.
Like,
My mom
and
at
I'm
least took
talking,
us
like,
out into the fucking
steep fucking hills. The kind that just fucking kill your engine if you really don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, what's the hill in San Francisco? The one that's got the
Mission.
switchbacks constantly.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't think you can drive on that anymore.
Yeah, it makes sense. That road is so ridiculous.
Yeah. There's roads in San Francisco where you're almost surprised your front wheels don't lift off the fucking ground. Like, you're almost going straight up.
Before we get too far away, there is one more connection I wanted to draw between black culture and fatherless homes. If we're not already in trouble for this topic as is, there is one other thing that I think is connected, but it might not be. But I'm pretty sure it is. So, like, another aspect with black people or black guys in particular is the shoe culture, sneakers. They seem to be overly obsessed with their shoes, and that's not a masculine trait by any stretch of the imagination. Guys, like actual guys, don't give a rat's ass about their shoes. They're a means to an end. Like, most guys have like 3 types of shoes, like boots, shoes, and dress shoes.
Yeah, you have a good set of work boots, a good pair of dress shoes, and a good pair of walking shoes.
Exactly. You don't give a rat's ass about
like pair of shoes, brown dress shoes, maybe a couple pairs of sneakers, maybe a hiking boots. Like 5 is probably a good limit, dude.
Exactly.
5 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, I always did have a pair of like fucking hiking boots.
But what do women have? They have like all kinds of shoes. Some women are fucking obsessed with the things. And so when you look at, let's say, like the black community, which is all about the sneakers, and they love their sneakers, I think that's a feminine trait that they've acquired from their mothers, because what does the mom have? Lots of shoes. And what's big with black culture? Sneakers. Having lots of them in different styles. And so I think it's a connection. I think there's a connection there between black culture and fatherless homes, and that's why they have all the sneaker thing.
That is definitely an interesting perspective.
It's a thought. I don't know if any research was ever done into that, but I was thinking about that, and I'm like, that actually explains sneakers.
It kind of does, in a weird way. I can't argue.
And then maybe it's the same thing with maybe it's just the same thing with the other black culture, because they also like to wear clothes that are very flashy, and think of pimps too. Like they wear all those very flashy things. I think that's where a lot of women do as well. It could just be it's all connected. So I'm calling the black community gay. I mean, I don't know if I'd say they're gay. I think it's very.
So I'm saying they're gay, but not homo. Like gay and like, oh my god, dude, that's so gay.
Maybe they're close to metrosexuals. They're like act a little gay.
How about effeminate's probably a better.
I don't think I spelt it right, but I put that in the chat. Or very effeminate, yeah.
I mean, like, I think that there's similarities, but what's also interesting is that it's clearly a distinct.
It's just AT.
It's like, okay, the women and black guys are just as obsessed with shoes, but it's still very clearly different, because black guys, they're not going to wear high heels, and women will. The women's shoes are very different, and the men's shoes are also very different.
Have you seen short black people? Black dudes? There's a lot of short black dudes that wear high heels, dude.
Are you saying
like platform shoes? Like, legit.
Is that the explanation for why they wear baggy pants? It sings so low you can't see the shoes?
Yep.
Oh, shit. I think got some words of wisdom there.
If you look at Prince wore like super fucking thick shoes all the time with like heels and shit on them.
Prince was
what's that fucking comedian dude? He's not funny, but like everybody loves him, like Cats or something like that.
From what I've heard,
something or other.
From what I've heard, Prince was
Cat
Stevens wears heels all the fucking time.
Cat Williams.
Yeah, I
Cat
think
Stevens
Cat
was,
Williams.
from
Yeah,
the
Cat Stevens was the guy that fucking Muslims hated. I'm pretty sure that motherfucker Cat Williams be wearing like heels all the time, dude.
From what I've heard, Prince was very short. He was like 4'11". He does all his shopping in like the kids departments. He's such a shorty.
Yeah, and Prince used to wear like weird high heel shoes all the time too.
Indeed, I learned that from Kevin Smith because he did a thing with Prince. He was filming a documentary for the guy, a documentary that's never seen the light of day, and that's because Prince has a vault. But
Yep.
the story
Prince is
Kevin
fucking nutty, dude. That whole story from Kevin Smith, I've heard that shit. That is fucking nutty.
Oh, dude. Oh, man.
The weird
That's the problem.
religious stuff.
Like, if you get rich, like you go crazy. Like, I look at Madonna, like that bitch. Of course, she was crazy before, but man, she real crazy now. I think she's just getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah, she turned into like an old British woman somehow.
My God, with the fucking butt implants. Oh, well. Someone she just needs to embrace. Like, I have a lot more respect for her if she just look Madonna, just embrace old age. Stop trying to reverse everything. Stop the plastic surgery. Stop all the working out.
Trying to become a gremlin.
I know.
It's gonna get to a point where if you get her wet, she's gonna spray off little fucking Madonna spores, and new Madonnas will be born.
Maybe.
But don't feed her, or they'll turn evil.
Oh my God. How? No, she adopted a bunch of black kids. I wonder how they're doing.
Oh, I imagine they have the best of everything, except for any sort of like actual familial like care and concern. Like they're like the fucking well kept trophy dogs that the bitches carry around in their purses and shit. Like they'll go to the best schools, they'll receive the best fucking tutors and shit. They'll go to really nice colleges, but they don't have a mom. Like I guarantee she's not like holding them in the middle of the night because they're crying.
Yeah, nannies are raising those kids, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's no fucking way somebody like Madonna's doing it. Or like fucking Angelina Jolie. She's not fucking taking care of all those kids. Her and fucking... Because didn't she adopt a bunch of kids with fucking, what's his name? Handsome dude? Brad Pitt when they were fucking married?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Man,
I think she already had some.
No, I fucking see Brad Pitt being like an actual dad. Not like a really good one, but just sort of like that weird distant guy who's like, hey, what's going on, kid? You know, like...
He's trying. Yeah.
Well, just because the father role is, especially in the earlier years, is much less intensive.
What was I totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, Angelina Jolie. She had like that double mastectomy, so she's got like no tits. And when I heard that, I was like, "Oh God, that's gotta suck." I didn't think she'd ever get any work ever again, but here she is doing that Maleficent movie or movies.
I didn't know she had a double mastectomy, dude. Fuck, that's harsh. That's some fucking real
shit. Yeah. I mean I can't remember what her last movie was, and she thought that was the end of her career. But then they apparently because she's got the name power, so they bring her back and she does. They put her in the suits and all that. Yeah, and you wouldn't think that because she did Maleficent, which I fucking hate that movie, by the way.
I just don't really pay that much attention to Angelina Jolie's tits. Her face is so fucking weird looking that I don't know why everybody's in love with her.
Yeah, those Botox lips, they're really distracting.
Her whole face just looks fucking weird.
I like Hackers Angelina Jolie. She was kind of pretty hot in that one. Way back in the day.
She looked like a fucking elf or an elf or a Romulan in that, though, with the short hair.
Yeah.
That's fine. I can still do
and the lips are fucking ridiculously huge, obviously.
That's okay. I can dig it. I got no problem with fat lips. Or big lips. Those are fine.
As long as the titties aren't too small.
exactly.
Although the anime is gonna fuck you up because real tits don't feel like bowls of chocolate pudding, which is what I assume anime tits would feel like if you watch the animes. Like they look like.
It depends on what anime you're watching. I don't know. If you watch High School of the Dead, you might have a might be questioning physics.
They seem like they
boobs.
might just pop if you poked them with like a thumbtack. Like they just go, psst, they just fucking deflate.
Oh, please. High School of the Dead titties, they got a mind of their own. They'd stay away.
I've seen some of the fucking. I've seen the what's the most iconic little bit that they snipped out of that was the rifle shot.
Yeah, and then the
where
boobs
the bullet
just
goes through and the tits dodge it one at a time.
I showed Gaming that. He just sort of like, he just freaked out. It's like, what is this? What happened?
Oh,
How are they doing
that is a fucking. Let me see if I can find a gif of that on YouTube because that shit is fucking great.
I fucking love that scene. Oh, I was just, it's just so bizarre. Like, okay, I'm used to anime having some fan service. All right, I'm used to that. That, on the other hand, I was not expecting that. And it's never been replicated since. It fucking broke the internet and no one tried it ever again. It's like everyone in Japan just sort of went, okay, I'm out. I'm done.
Let's see. I don't know if I'm able to find one that's small enough.
There was a spin-off manga series called Triga X, and it's set in the same universe, and I know that got an anime adaptation. I don't know where it is, so like if it ever got dubbed or got released. I lost track of it after a while. That's the problem with a bunch of series. I mean, if you stop, like, if it's stuck in development hell, you tend to forget it exists. Like, I would love a second season of High School of the Dead, but I know that ain't gonna happen.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I ever watched High School of the Dead. I've seen, like, a few little clips here and there, and I've heard about it, but I think when I heard about it, I'd already been, like, zombied out.
Yeah, I mean, the fan service is one thing, but as a zombie thing, it's actually pretty good. It's also unique because you don't really see a lot of zombies in anime. And when I say zombies, I mean like actual zombies, not like not like any of the other stuff they have from anime stuff. Yeah. There we go.
I think I found one. No. Yeah, I can't find one that's really good clip of it, but it is a pretty great scene where like the guy's sniping over the chick's tits, and then one chick, her tits both dodge the bullet like separately.
Jiggle around.
Oh, Samaj already found it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I get it. I will say this about the show.
That was not you just tagged Samaj, right? Yeah, it was Nostradamus.
Oh, it was Nostradamus put up the gift. Thank you, Nacho.
Yeah. He like I said, he tagged.
Oh, that's
Samaj
a good point. Yeah, if at any point anybody would have that gift ready at hand, it would definitely be Nostradamus.
Oh fuck, man! I wonder how much storage space he had. Gifts, dude.
Turns out he has more storage space than like the fucking CIA. It's just all gifts.
So, the one thing about High School of the Dead I don't like, or maybe it's just sort of just a factor of it. The guy who's shooting the gun, he's like the pretty boy, but he's got like no experience with guns. He doesn't know how to use them. That's why he misses most of the time. But there's another guy in there, and he's like an otaku. He's like a fat kind of guy. He is the most useful character in the whole show. He is like the MacGyver of characters. He MacGyvered a fucking machine gun. I mean, he is so like this guy has saved everyone's lives at least a dozen times over. But all the women like the pretty guy. It's like, dude, the fat guy might be fat, but he's fucking saving your life. At the moment he decides to walk away, you're all dead. That's how fucking useful this guy is.
Oh, and they keep fucking like mocking him and treat him like
Yeah,
shit.
like it's part of the joke, but like at the same time, I'm like, can none of you see your like use your eyes? Like there's this one girl who's particularly bitchy, and like she's witnessed dozens of times of this guy saving everyone's lives.
Oh, there was a fucking a similar sort of situation on one of the Survivor shows where I forget which one it was, but it was one of the early seasons where like a guy made like shelter and got food on his first fucking day there, so they voted him out.
Most useful guy you're gonna vote out. Oh,
And it was just like I was like I'd already been like not fucking interested, but after that I was just like, oh fuck it, who cares? If you're gonna vote out the only people that can actually do anything, then I'm just not interested in this show because none of you are gonna die, and that's the only fair result.
I've never been a huge fan of those.
Usually, for until like more towards the end, and then you vote them off because you know you can't beat them. There's like 3 people left. The other 2 vote that guy off because they know they're not going to beat him. Strategically, it's the best way to go.
I've never been really interested in those shows, but there was one that I did want to check out. It was like men versus women. So like they had women on an island and men on an island, and they both
I
had.
fucking watched a few episodes of that. The women were fucking terrible.
Oh, they canceled it because it was meant to be like, oh, women can succeed on their own, and it was fucking terrible.
No, they fucking can't.
They just got lost. They got into the woods and they got lost, and they just went around in circles.
Oh, they devolved into infighting and useless shit and trying the same thing over and over without any fucking.
Now,
and expecting it to come out differently every time. It's like you've done the same thing 3 fucking times. Exactly. It's time to take it to just fucking anything else.
They had to call for help multiple times. Like they used the radios. They called for help because people got infections and all that other kind of shit. And then on the men's side, it's like, well, they've come up with, they made a system to catch fish. They made a bed that you can sleep on. They got shelter. They have fire. They have all the stuff. I'm just sort of looking at like, and they have like very little in the way of drama. The only drama is that one of the guys was pretty old, and so he couldn't really contribute as much as the others. So they were trying to figure out like, oh, who's going to do his job for this and this job for that. That was the only thing the guys had to really deal with.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, we're never doing that again.
That shit was fucking hilarious. Because if I remember correctly, the chicks just immediately went into the woods, but went way out of sight of the fucking water, so they had no real reference for like where they were versus where they wanted, where other stuff that they needed was. And they were just completely incapable of finding anything else. And then like they kept sending out groups that would get lost for like days at a fucking time.
There was one that was like she lived out in the farm, and so she's like, I have all this experience. You should probably make me leader. And so they decided to make her leader. And she just didn't know what the fuck she was doing. And then,
living on a farm has nothing to do with surviving on a fucking deserted island. That's just dumb fucking logic.
Exactly. Well, because you get some women who live out in the farm areas and they have to take care of animals and maybe camp every now and then, and they think they know what they're doing.
If you tell me you lived out in the mountains and you fucking hunted for your food most of the time, then I'm gonna fucking say, all right, cool, I get it. I'm gonna follow this person in the fucking survival in the wild thing. But if you lived on a farm, that don't mean shit. It's just not the same. You got one of those people that are like they're out hunting for fucking food every weekend and they're hiking and backpacking and shit like that. Those are the ones you want to trust.
Indeed.
Because living on a farm, they might be real good at driving a tractor and growing some fucking soybeans in a field, but that doesn't translate to finding food in a forest.
You're right. The leader, if you will. And then she just sort of like, all right, I've lost all faith in myself. I can't do this. So I've decided to stop being leader. And the other one were like,
oh, no, he roboted out for me at that point after I decided to stop being leader.
Okay. yeah, she just stop being Lear, and then they just freaked out. It's like,
Oh
but
yeah, I imagine. I didn't get that
you're
far in, but that sounds about right.
it was fucking hilarious. It's like it was a terrible experience. Like, yeah, no, women cannot lead.
Well, and you can even see like the editors and the producers, like even in the early on episodes, were having a really hard time because there wasn't that much going on with the dudes. Because the dudes were like, all right, let's get fire. All right, let's get fucking shelter. All right, let's get food. All right, we good. Like, just fucking. There wasn't really a lot of controversy because it was just like, oh no, we're all gonna do this. Okay, cool.
Like even if you're like not very experienced, like let's say you've lived in the city your whole life, you probably know at least a little bit about how to survive. Like, you gotta get shelter. You know you need food.
Well,
You know
here's the
you need to
thing.
eat.
You find the guy that's like a Boy Scout or like was in the military or something and maybe took some training because, all you really need is one guy able to show people what to do. So, because any idiot can fucking build a lean-to if you just draw a fucking picture in the dirt. You know what I mean? Like, you just be like, all right, you build a lean-to, we're all going to go out and do this other shit that's more complicated for the city dwellers. So it's super easy. But
Or even think,
you
yeah,
have to start with that leader that has some idea of what actually needs to be done.
indeed, have at least some goal. Even if it's a loose goal, you still need a kind of goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I used to watch a lot of like survivalist bullshit, mainly because preppers were. I didn't realize how ridiculous a lot of the preppers were for a while. Get kind of sucked into that, and it's a pretty basic situation. Basically, you want to like prioritize, protection from the elements. So that might mean getting fire or building a shelter or whatever. But like that's your primary is protection from the elements. Your secondary is water, and your tertiary is food.
Like people bitch about preppers, but let me tell you, when the whole COVID and the lockdowns hit, they were the ones laughing. They were the ones that's like, ha, ha,
Oh yeah,
ha.
dude. Legitimately, I stopped watching a few channels just because they were so fucking proud of themselves, just crowing over it, dude.
And who's laughing now? So I think a whole generation of people are going to become preppers, which is a good thing to get into now that you think about it.
If they become reasonable preppers.
Reasonable, yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't need somebody with a nuclear bomb shelter. Although, if you want to build one, hey, that's still pretty fucking cool. I just don't think it's necessary.
You may need to get a permit or something to dig that deep. I don't know if you're in the city, anyways.
Yeah, oh for sure. Well, there's all sorts of pipes and wires running under the ground. You don't know where they are. That's why they want you to make sure to fucking ask them. Like, before you knock the power out to half your fucking town, maybe you just give us a ring and we'll tell you whether or not you can dig there.
I forget what the catchphrase was. Like know before you dig. I don't know. You gotta
Yeah, I
get
think it
the
is actually know before you dig in the U.S. I don't know, or at least in California, know before you dig is right. That's what they say on all the little signs.
It was a catchphrase. I can't remember what it was. It's a good one though, because you're right. You should probably call because last thing you want to do is set up a bomb shelter in your backyard and then dig up your septic.
Yeah, exactly. A septic line or a sewer line. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
no bueno.
that would fucking
I mean, with the
suck.
septic, at least it would only be yours. But if it was an actual sewer line, that's everybody in your neighborhood's shit coming out in your yard.
Yeah.
Oh.
Say I've been thinking of like if I had some property, I was like, can I set up a basement that would be like my little bomb shelter? And then I started thinking about, okay, well, what if it's an emergency? I gotta get down someplace. And I started thinking about putting up like slides or poles like Batman. Like fuck, I'm trying to make Wayne Manor.
Yeah. Well, hell, we just dug like a drainage ditch through my backyard at one point because we had a problem where water was coming in, sitting against the bottom of the house. And we
I'm
was
not
draining
gonna.
towards the house, so we had to dig a ditch that just would like channel everything out and keep it from building up against the house foundations.
And I'm not gonna lie, because I grew up with the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Ooh.
I fucking wanted a Batcave. And I wanted like a Wayne Manor, like a nice big house with with secret
I
doors and
mean,
all that.
what rational child doesn't want a fucking? I mean, not necessarily a bat cave, but just like a secret room with hidden doors and like secret passages and shit. You know, I mean,
Oh fuck yeah, I would. I'd totally
it's
make
like an
Wayne Manor if I
inborn
could.
male trait.
Yeah, that could be. Could be. You want to be nice and prepped. I want to get my fort ready.
Well, I mean, also if you think about it, like you can hide your food in your secret room from other monkeys.
Look, I gotta be able to install my what's it called, Lazy Susan, to get my fucking bitchin' ass car up. So
Well, and
she
also, sex robots. Eventually, you're gonna want a place to hide that.
hide the sex robots.
Hide the sex robots.
I,
Keep everybody else from finding out you got one.
I the moment I die, I put in my will, make sure to destroy the cave. And my wife would be like, "Cave? What cave?" And then
Destroy the cave and the sex robot in the cave. It
they,
all goes down.
there you go. The wife goes down and says, "What the? Where did you get the money for this? What is that? A Mercedes? What the fuck? Why are there so many like women mannequins?" It's like, oh no, these are sex dolls.
It's like that fucking that was that on this stream that somebody brought it up? Japan has like the robot hand that's like holding a hand.
That was gaming and yelling, and that was me.
Oh, okay, it was you on gaming and yelling. That's like the one of the steps I think towards like actual sex robots is like fucking machines that you
Well,
can interact with on a physical level that they're not worried are gonna just like break your fucking hand. You know,
I
like
if anyone can do it, it's Japan.
oh yeah,
It,
no, the
it,
first sex robot's coming from Japan. We all know this.
like I know they sell dolls. I know people are over here are probably talking about making sex robots. Like I don't care. I'm waiting for Japan. They know what they're doing. They're also Japan was well aware of their drop in population, which means the current like when the current population gets old, you're going to have a really large elderly population, and they have no family and no kids to take care of them. So how are you going to take care of your elderly population? Well, you're probably going to have to make robots, and I think that's sad that's what it had to come down to. But yeah, if you
Yeah,
don't
sex
start
robots
having
should have been a
kids,
priority long before that.
probably. But I mean, like, sex robots are probably going to be a side factor of that. Like, they're going to use sex to sell it, but really, they're going to invest in technology to make the robots to take care of the elderly. Like, investing in sex robots is an investment in
Well, apparently
your
the elderly spend a whole lot of time jacking off, so having a robot that can like change their diaper and fucking help them get in and out of bed or hold them up in the shower and then fuck them later is just sort of like a really good bonus.
There was a Ghost in the Shell movie I watched. It's from the Standalone Complex series, which is like the best series ever. And I'm not talking about the Netflix thing; it was an older movie, but I loved it because even then they knew about the whole like populate aging population. Like what was going on is they discovered that that elderly people with no with as far as they can tell no kids or grandkids that they know of just all of a sudden now have grandkids. And they thought, well, that's weird. And then shortly after that gets discovered, the elderly people die. Well, what ends up happening is people's minds get hacked. People who actually have kids, their minds get hacked because it's all cybernetic, and they erase the memory of ever having a child. And what ends up happening is that the child gets
Damn.
taken in, gets a cyber brain, and then gets to think that, oh yeah, I'm the grandchild of this elderly person who just died, and then they inherit all their wealth. And that's because the elderly people are like, we know we're gonna die, and we know we'd left no kids, so we need something to survive in our name. So they're literally stealing children from young people, young families. I thought that's a fucking creepy ass story, but I like it.
That's the kind of shit that's like an awesome story, but you would never see in any sort of modern day shit.
You know,
Just
you
too
say that.
offensive.
Well, you say that, but I think it could happen. and it actually might happen sooner than you think, because the big companies that make movies, they're not going to be making movies, so you're going to see a bunch of indie movies coming up. In fact, I think it was on Midnight's Edge. They were interviewing people who are making indie movies just to give them a little bit of like a boost. I even met a guy who made a comic and who is now making his own indie movie. It's about like an old Wild West kind of a movie. And in the coal mines, they accidentally broke open an ancient dinosaur. But it turns out that like the dinosaur is still alive somehow through the amber. But turns out the dinosaur is actually an evolution of a shark. So it's actually a sharkosaurus. So it's going around killing the townsfolk, and no one believes you. It's like a sharkosaurus. First of all, what's a dinosaur? Second of all, a shark. So it's a weird little indie movie. But there's more of them coming out there.
You know, I like that. The problem is, if a bunch of people are just disappearing all over town, that becomes less ridiculous real fast. It's like, but like there's been 10 people disappeared last week. You know what? All right, I'm in with Sharkosaurus. Let's see what the fuck is going on. It's like, that's unbelievable when nobody's disappearing. But when like 10 people are gone in a week, you might start to fucking wonder. But I like that. That's at least something different than the fucking norm. Man, where did Daytwa go?
Somewhere.
He's like, I'm gonna go drive to the store. I'll be back in an hour. Or he went and take a nap like fucking gaming young style.
Yeah, so much is rambling about anime again. I'm gonna go get a smoke.
Sharkosaurus. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a really bad B-movie style film, but fuck it. It's better than a lot of the mainstream shit out right now at this point. Probably more entertaining and better written.
I mean, maybe. Oh god, there's a Rick and Morty PS5 ad. Oh, I don't think it's gonna help.
Do you watch ads?
No, it's popped up in my feed because I was watching Rick and Morty clips, and so it's like Rick and Morty. Oh, you might like this Rick and Morty ad for PS5, and it's probably gonna be mediocre. No one's buying that system. No one.
I don't know why people still buy game systems at all.
Because it's better than the alternative. Because the alternative is like we can download each game. Which, remember what I told you about the whole VHSs? It's the same thing with video games. They buy physical copies because they don't want to download a game. They want the physical game.
Yeah.
I paid it.
But like, you can hack a lot of that stuff too, so it's not like it's that hard to get games that are no longer technically for sale anymore.
Yeah, like I've learned that I fucking hate digital games. I want to have a physical copy of it. Like, for example, like I paid for a game called Gotham City Imposters on the PlayStation 3. I fucking love that game. That game was like it felt kind of like a Team Fortress or an Overwatch before all that was big. Yeah. It was about people who were like Jokers and other people that were Batmans, like bats and whatever, and they fight each other on the streets of Gotham City. It's fucking great, and it's a stylized kind of a game. So I mean, it like you can look at trailers for it now, and it still holds up. I fucking love that game, and I'm always saddened when I realize I can't play it anymore.
Oh, because you don't have a PS3 anymore?
No, I still have the PS3. I paid $15 for the game. It's still on my console. But two things happened. The company went out of business, and so they're not supporting it anymore. And Warner Bros. Likes to pretend it doesn't exist.
Oh, shit.
It's like, I don't know why.
You ought to look online, see if you can't find like a hacked version, and see if you can't find a way to play it.
Well, if I could, I would. I mean, where would I go to find a hacked version of it?
Like an emulator, PS3 emulator.
Hmm.
See if somebody's made an emulation of the game. Because in an emulator, you're playing on like a static thing. It's not getting updates constantly. It's never, it's not going to change unless the people who create the emulator change it. And in that case, most of the games automatically just get changed with it. But I don't know, man. It might be too obscure
I
or
think
too
it
new.
might be. It might be.
Like I know I've had to go back and find some real weird emulators to play Final Fantasy Tactics,
Oh yeah,
the original one, because that was such a fun game. But they don't sell that anymore on any platform that I'm aware of.
it's on the iPhone, on the iOS. It's mobile now.
Oh, fuck them then.
It's it's like $20
Yeah, I'll keep playing my emulator for free.
if you like. Um, for me, like I had a hard time getting into the PS1 version of that game. I always played advanced, and I think the reason
Tactics
for it is
Advanced was better, but like the story wasn't as good. I don't think.
yeah, I agree. It's about like kids in our time go into the fantasy world. I'm like it's like it's an isekai. Like,
Yeah,
I
the
kind of
mechanics were, but the mechanics were like so much fucking better.
what I think part of the other reason why it was such a for me it was really popular and just a charming kind of game is it was also quite colorful. You
Mm-hmm.
got the sense that this was sort of like for kids. Like okay, that's fine, whatever. But also, they had different races and different class options. I know the original had
Ooh,
class options.
plus the arbitrary rules
The
where
rules,
like you
yep,
can't use fire in this match, or you can't use like water in this match, or
yep,
time
yep, yep.
magic isn't allowed. It was that made it a lot more interesting because you really had to fucking plan out like where you walked to
Hmm.
be careful about when you got into a fight so that you were timing it when you wouldn't be weak.
Exactly. I agree. It was quite something. I enjoyed that game way too much. Also, I when I learned the joys of steel, like I could just
Ooh, yeah.
I play the game and I'd have it like I don't know like three different thieves and I just rob the enemy blind, just take him
Yes,
for everything.
that's early game. Early game is you want to fucking max out some thieves.
Oh man, max out the thief. Because what you want to go for is high momentum or speed, because then that'll give you more turns. So yeah, you max out thief, and then you go to ninja if you can, and that'll max out your speed.
Oh
Then
yeah, but the steal ability was probably the best part of a thief.
oh dude, I just rob them fucking blind.
Oh, you
And
get a
the best,
time mage. You get a time mage to stop them, or another mage to sleep them, and then
indeed,
you use your thief to steal like their armor and their weapon and their fucking uh whatever else they had, and then you can start stealing their fucking abilities in the fights. Oh, dude, you could get
yeah,
some great shit that way.
loved it. Fucking loved it. It was one of my favorite games of all time. And then it came out on the DS, and that was not the greatest. Like you leveled up super fast, and you only got like they took out some of the best steel abilities. I'm like, oh well, Ninja sucks now, or Thief sucks.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorites is like I went out and figured out which levels had like the best items because there's a ring you could get that if you die you just it's like automatic like brings you back to life like
Yeah,
one
the
hit
angel
point.
ring. I remember that.
Angel ring, and then there was fairy shoes. It's like I can walk on water now. Like fuck water. I can just fuck the terrain. I can just
Oh
go
yeah, yeah,
wherever I
fairy
want.
boots because you would like fly, but then there was also a couple of items that were like move plus 2 or 3.
Well, there was
Or
another
no, no,
one.
not
It was
moves.
like
Abilities that were move plus 2 or 3, and you could just fucking like put those on with like the fucking fairy shoes and just you walk anywhere on the map,
well
anywhere.
there was two. There was the fairy. I think it was the fairy shoes, and there's fairy boots. And the fairy shoes, you didn't move. You just teleported. And then the boots let you walk on water.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
it
the
could
ones that were like where it wasn't that you walked on water; it's that you floated.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you could
That was
walk
it.
over water, or you could walk over bad terrain or lava or whatever.
Hmm. And I might have those two mixed up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but
Um,
if you had like the move or the jump plus three, the jump plus three wasn't as good, but the move plus three, which was I want to say a thief ability, that gave you basically access to like one move to anywhere you want on the map. So you'd be like a ninja and like two sword them and just fucking tear people apart.
oh, dude, I fucking would, man. It was the best. I loved it. Fucking loved that game. Um, and the other thing, like I said before, is I enjoy the different races. So they had like those lizard people, and they had the bunny girls.
Yep.
I mean,
And the Moogles,
yeah,
the little teddy
Eh,
bear, sort of funky looking cat teddy bear things.
yeah, got the Moogles, and then of course, I mean,
Eeyore.
yeah,
The
that
Eeyores.
your. I couldn't help but think like the other thing that game reminds me of is the Dark Crystal, because you had like those elderly kind of guys.
Yeah.
They look like the Eeyores, and then you had the lizard guys that kind of look like the Skeksis, and then the yeah,
Skeksis. That one fucking guy from the fucking Dark Crystal, where he's always just like, yes, yes, I'll help you, I will. The fucking every time.
started
Oh.
rewatching that show because I watched the first episode and I was like, that's not for me. And I watched episode 2 and went, okay, yeah, the show's pretty good. It's just the time investment I don't really want to put in there, but it does look pretty good. With
Huh.
that said, with that said, apparently it was canceled, the Dark Crystal, because everyone was waiting for the second season, and Netflix pulled the plug.
Oh wow.
No, no Dark Crystal season 2 for you.
No, I never really watched the first season.
Well, I think they're still moving ahead with that Labyrinth sequel,
Oh yeah.
which
That's I just did. How are you going to do that without David Bowie's dick? That was a central point of the first movie.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a movie or if it's going to be a series because that part was never really made clear. I think it's a series. Who knows? Maybe they'll focus on different characters and other such people. I don't know. I'm sure they've already got it planned out. You need to understand these things always had sequels in mind. Like the Dark Crystal had, I don't know how much lore. There was comic book series based on it, novels. There's lots of lore within Dark Crystal, so making sequels to that was not hard. But Labyrinth, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely certain how that was playing out.
Damn, yeah.
Man, I kind of want to watch Labyrinth now. I saw it when I was a kid, and I never saw it again. I vaguely remember it. I remember David Bowie. I remember he had these balls he would turn around. He would whatever.
I remember Hoggle. Poor little Hoggle. The little worm that's in the fucking wall. I just remember that guy. He was fucking
Oh
great.
yeah. Or the guys that jumped around in their fucking heads and their torsos and their bottom parts would just switch around and like pull off and shit with their legs just go floating across the fucking screen and shit.
They're
God,
like
when I was a kid,
dribbling a
that
dude's
creeped me
head.
the fuck out, man.
I remember they were literally dribbling his head like a basketball.
Yep.
It was fucking insane.
Why won't your head come off? We'll take your head off. Oh man. Or how about when fucking
Yeah, I watched it as an adult. It still holds up.
Oh yeah, no, good movies always do. But what about when the big fucking dude calls the rocks? He's like,
Oh yeah,
rocks friends. He just fucking just makes that weird howling sound. All
up.
these rocks just fucking come out of nowhere and fuck up the goblin army.
And the bog of eternal stench where he calls them.
Dude,
and
they
roll
all
themselves.
fucking touched that at
Some
one
of them
point or
just popped
another.
up.
But like, it was clearly like not on purpose, but like almost every one of them got to a point where like clearly touched the bog of eternal stench.
Yeah, at least on their shoe,
Yeah, on the fucking like
undersides
the
of their
bottom of their
shoe, at the
shoes or
very
like their
least.
pant leg or something or some fur. That always bothered me as a kid. I'm like, no, that motherfucker's fur got in the fur of Bog of Eternal Stench. He stinks forever.
As a kid, you thought that? Language, buddy.
Hey, I was a foul mouthed kid. Actually, no, wait, no, I wasn't. No, I was
Me
super
too.
fucking straight laced. Because that's right, I didn't want to drink or do drugs or anything all through fucking high school. And I wouldn't swear any of that.
Yeah, the Dare program work on you?
No, this
They had
is
the Dare
from.
program where you were at?
Well, I mean, remember my dad's an alcoholic, so that was definitely like my only fucking exposure to it as a kid. So it was just like, oh, I'm never gonna fucking be that. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
Then I grew up and realized, oh yeah, I don't.
Unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Or fortunately, who knows?
Yeah, really. Yeah, all I know is that I realized, like, oh wait, I can do things like smoke weed or drink, and I don't turn into like a terrible fucking human and lose control over when I do or don't do it. So that was nice.
Right.
That was definitely like an
One of you normies.
Moment. Well, no, because you grow up and you see like your dad like constantly drinking all the time, even when it's like really fucking like he's dying. Because like the cancer killed him, but like drinking killed him just as much as the cancer did.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's rough, man. Having to fucking. Like I said, my dad wasn't an alcoholic or any of that shit.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, him dying of cancer. Yeah, it's a tough thing to fucking watch, dude. Your dad just deteriorating, fucking passing away.
Oh yeah, dude, I had to help him fucking in and out of the bathroom more than a few times. Fucking at one point he shit himself and I had to fucking rinse him off.
Oh God.
Get him all cleaned up and back into like some fucking clean clothes again. It was like, but you got to remember this is because at that point it was the beginning of the fucking quarantine, and the choice was, you know, we do a lot of that fucking care, and he stays here, or he goes to a fucking hospice care and we never see him again, and he just basically goes and sits alone in a room until he dies. They basically would have just put him in a fucking hospital bed in a room, hooked him up to like a catheter and shit. He would never have been able to like walk around as much as he did in our house, which was, you know, not a lot. He could get out to the garage to fucking smoke and watch his shows. But yeah, the other option was like in a care home, and we just never would have seen him again, and it would have been terrible.
Yeah, it was fucked up. No, my dad.
But he would have lasted longer. They made sure to tell us that. They were like, "Well, he'll probably live longer." Like, oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, living in constant pain and fucking just agony.
Well, and also not being able to see your family, like your kids and your wife, for the last fucking 6 months of your life. Oh, that's just brutal. I'm really glad I'm not put in that kind of position where like I have to choose. And I really hope that by the time I'm fucking 65, 70, looking at cancer and shit like that, that I'm not in a position to be like, well, either you can, you know, live in your house and do what you want, but you gotta fucking, you know, die in 6 months, or you can live in this box and watch TV for like 2 years.
Yeah, not much, not many good choices there, man, but yeah. Definitely being around your family and that, being left alone in a fucking nursing home or whatever, hospice.
Well, yeah, they got
like for my dad, he could barely fucking walk.
Yeah,
he couldn't walk at all towards the end, and basically had to use a catheter. Like he couldn't pee.
Yeah.
So he would have like this bag of urine strapped to his leg, and we'd have to fucking change that out. You know, like empty it out into the toilet or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could just tell, man, that he just didn't want like. Yeah, it was It was fucking sad towards the
My
end.
dad died the night they put the catheter in. So literally,
Oh,
like, they
wow.
came and put a catheter in, like, one morning, and then by the end of that night, he had passed.
Wow.
I thought it was weird that my mom and my brother were like with him, and they like this is probably the last couple hours he's gonna be alive, and they didn't get anyone else up to go and say goodbye. But you know, I mean,
Wow.
I don't think they knew. You know what I mean? I think they suspected, but it just happened, and then they were like, oh shit, this fucking happened.
Yeah.
And I think my sister probably is better off not having woken up for that. I don't think that would have been good for her.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah. It seemed like your dad's progressed like pretty quickly, man, from when you, or maybe I just didn't mention it before what was going on, but
he had a lot of other health issues that basically it went from like he could pretty much get around and do everything, no real problem, and then like the next year, you know, it was like, oh, like last year he was having a hard time kind of getting around. We didn't want to go to the family party for very long because he got worn out. And then like the next year he was like, oh, I would,
yeah,
you know, he didn't even make it till the next Christmas after that because it was like he had like liver and kidney issues from the fucking drinking all the time. Plus he had gotten pneumonia like 10 years earlier, really badly out in Texas. When he and my mom went out to Texas, in the hospital there didn't treat him very well. So they, you know.
Oh, wow.
Essentially, my mom had to get involved and be like, my motherfucking husband's legs be hanging off like the end of the bed, like 6 inches off the end of the bed. So you're going to get a bed in here that fits him. And you're going to get him some medication right the fuck now. Like, you're going to actually start treating him. And she's really good at getting stuff done, like when it comes to that. Like, cutting through the red tape nonsense or people's resistance to doing things her way in that kind of setting. She's really good at that.
Yeah, man, that's huge, man.
So
yeah, insurance companies
back up. Yeah, it was a scary moment though because it was really like he might fucking die in Texas while the rest of us are all in fucking California.
Yeah.
And I didn't want my mom having to fucking deal with that, like, in the middle of another state and fucking, you know, stuck there with the body and shit. It would have been just fucking brutal.
What was the David Bowie's character in that Labyrinth movie?
Oh, the Goblin King.
The Goblin King. Okay, I was just watching some scenes with him. Cause I have not seen this movie since I was a kid, so I needed some reminding.
I love the end where he's like, I have done nothing but serve you. You asked me to take your brother, and I took him. You coward, and I was frightening. Like, he turns the whole thing on her, like, trying to gaslight her. Like,
yeah,
I have done nothing
what you asked.
Yeah, I've done nothing but help.
He kind of reminds me of this, and I'm pretty sure this was an influence. There's a character in an anime called Escaflowne, and there's his brother. His name is Falcon. I'm like, there's something about the hair and the outfit and the way he's dressed. I'm like, I kind of reminds me.
It wouldn't be surprising. There's a lot of stuff that was influenced by anime in that period of time, like the 80s and the 90s.
That's true. And this was like 95, I think. So more than likely there was an influence.
The Labyrinth was in 1995? Are you fucking sure?
No, I'm talking about Escaflowne.
Oh, okay. Because I understand the Labyrinth was in...
Yeah, I lived in New York when that came out. So I'm guessing it was around 82, 83, somewhere in that area.
86.
Oh, okay. I'm off by a few years.
Because I remember watching it when I was in, like, grade school and shit. So that 86, 87 was about when I was in, like, kindergarten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just know I still lived in New York. Apparently. Because, yeah, we moved when I was, like, 10, so that would have been 86.
'82
So right then,
was the Dark
right there.
Crystal. Damn, dude, almost 40 years ago. Almost as
God
old
damn,
as
I
I
remember.
am.
I remember having the weirdest fucking dreams of being in the fucking Dark Crystal universe with all those weird looking fucking puppet things and those
Well,
rabbits with their gigantic rabbit looking things with like the stilts for fucking
yeah,
front
the
legs.
fucking riding guys. Those things were so cool.
Yeah.
Man.
Shit.
I never had any
Yeah.
dreams about being in the fucking labyrinth, but that would have been pretty fucking sweet.
Indeed.
It's definitely got some
Yeah.
world
I
building
watched
to
that
it.
movie a lot. I'm surprised I didn't.
I mean, there's a lot of world building to be had in that. Um, Holy shit! I just saw the headline for this new Clownfish video. Apparently, they were considering Amber Heard to play Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, not anymore.
Well, they're still talking about it because apparently she's still going to be in that next Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Jesus, she
Which-
just
That's
beat the shit out of Johnny
the
Depp
fucking-
and free and fucking clear, right? And then lie about it, blaming him for her own fucking shit.
Yeah,
Dude, and the
that's
fact
so
that
gross.
the fact they would put him, is she really going to be in the Pirates of the Caribbean? Because that's fucking horrible. They kicked him off because of her lies. Now she's going to get a part in the fucking movie.
I think what they're thinking, because there's a lot of those like social justicey progressive people at Disney, but none of their movies sell. None of their movies sell. But I think what they're thinking is like when the movies do finally come out, people are going to be so starved for entertainment, they're going to watch it. They're going to watch it and absorb it, and they're going to want to see it. I think that's their logic, and it's a sound
I think it'll
idea.
sell no matter what, and that's just sad.
And that's what they're thinking too. However, we've gone through an entire summer with no new Marvel movies, and I think because people have broken the habit, and when you broke the habit, they're not going to go. I'll give you another example: comic books. Because of the lockdown, people's habit has been broken, and they're not buying the books. They're just not, because it used to be like
The stories suck, dude. There's no reason to.
well,
On
people
top
bought
of
them
breaking
like
the habit, you know what I mean? Like it's not just breaking the habit in that case. In my opinion, it's the combination of the stories have become terrible, and they stop getting in the habit of buying them.
Like, let me give you an example. Spider-Man is a constant seller. But good story, bad story, doesn't matter. People are faithful Spider-Man fans. They always go out and get it. They're not getting it now. And part of the thing is like when you looked at Marvel titles for comics, because there's this website called Comic-Con where you can see the sales. Doesn't matter who the writer is. Spider-Man always makes money. You go on there now, it doesn't make any money. It's not a seller, and that's because when the lockdown happened, people's habits, because they bought Spider-Man out of habit, and that habit is gone now, and it's the same thing with all this other shit that's going on. And you're right, the stories didn't sell.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing to reestablish the habit, as well as the habit getting broken.
Well, there were still people buying stuff out of habit, but the habit's gone now. And so with no habit keeping it in focus or keeping people buying books, it's done for. So, yeah, I want to be excited for comics. I'm excited for like the indie scene, but the problem with indie comics, like you go on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, it's like I just want to buy a comic book. Well, a comic book is going to cost you like $40 to $60. That's the problem with indie comics.
Fuck that.
Wow. Dude, I remember when I first got into comics as a kid, it was right when they were switching over from being 75 cents an issue to $1 an issue. That's how old I am.
Damn.
teens.
Do you
dude.
remember
That
when
was I was,
movies
like,
used
14.
to cost like $1.75 on a fucking matinee?
Yeah. Although the candy was still super crazy expensive, but
Well, it would be
yeah.
like $3 though. Now it's like $5 or $6 for a piece of candy in the fucking theater, but it would have been like $2.50, $3.
Yeah, or like a box of it, like a box of M&Ms or whatever. Now is like $8.
Yeah.
Still get a lot of popcorn in the big tub though.
Well, that's because that's almost all profit. Like there's just
Yeah, not much to popcorn.
you're popping the cone. Man, let me tell you, I gotta fucking vaporizer. That weed my mom grew is fucking great.
Yeah.
I also
sounds-
found out
that's-
you collect a little, the little dust that comes off of your weed when you grind it. If you have a keef catcher on the bottom, it catches all the keef, and that's almost pure THC. I had like a fucking tablespoon of that shit in the bottom of my grinder, and I just forgot.
No.
So it's like just dust every
yeah.
bowl, and you're like, oh shit. Oh
I'm
man.
in trouble. Yeah, especially if you're not expecting that in there, dude. You get super fucking high.
Oh well, I didn't expect there to be as much as there was, so I'm working my way through it though. It's nice. I'll tell you what though, for people that maybe don't smoke weed anymore, but for anybody who's into smoking weed, man, vaporizing is so much more fucking pleasant. Like you still get all the same great high, but you just don't like cough and your throat isn't like fucking tore up and shit. It's infinitely more pleasant.
Yeah, a lot cleaner. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, well, plus, yeah, you don't spend nearly as much time like fucking cleaning bowls and pipes out and water pipes and worrying about shit breaking or spilling.
I'm gonna swing back to an old.
God damn it! Samaj, I'm really not trying to do that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know you're not. I know it's just a delay. It's okay. I'm sorry. I was going to derail the conversation and go back to something because since I brought up Escaflowne, I checked out some things. I know it had a re-release not that long ago, and then I just found out they fucking redubbed it with all new actors.
Oh
and
no!
the original dub was damn near perfect. Because I know what went involved into making that, so that's part of the reason why I fucking loved it. I'm like, and they redub it with all the Funimation actors. Like, you fucking morons. I know why they did it. They did it so they didn't have to pay the old actors. Because when you re-release something, it's a paycheck. So why do that?
There's a way to fucking save money and fuck over the original cast. They will always do it.
Well, not to mention there's also conversion rates because the original dub was done by the Ocean Group. And that's a Canadian dubbing company. They did. There was a Canadian dub version of like Dragon Ball Z out there. So, but they also did the main dubs for things like Cowboy Bebop. No, not Cowboy Bebop. It was some other one. But anyway, older titles.
They made it in Canadian. They redubbed it in Canadian, so there's just like a lot of apologies and talk about like pancakes.
No, but there is better actors. Now you need to understand when anime was dubbed over here, and they were looking for the actors. They didn't have like voice actors, so they hired actors. By that I mean like theater actors. And so we're talking guys with the background that you would expect for someone on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah,
that's how fucking good our actors are. But it's very expensive because we're dealing with like theater rates and all that. A voice actor is like, $20 an hour, just basic rates. Voice actors make their money going to conventions. That's how they make their money. But the actors that they hired for here, cause that's part of the reason why it stopped, because it was too expensive, because the actors' rates were too high. But My God, man! If you could watch the Vision of Escaflowne from back in the day, like that dub, fucking incredible. Same thing with our Dragon Ball. Even though our Dragon Ball is heavily censored, fucking actors are phenomenal.
The voice acting makes up for it, is what you're saying.
Dude, it
For the
totally does.
censorship,
It's
yeah.
stupid. Like because they don't say I'm gonna kill you. They'll say like I'm gonna send you to another dimension. Like God fucking damn it! Why do you have to? That's so stupid. And they say it so often.
I'm gonna send you to another dimension.
It's so fucking terrible.
Oh, you know what? It is. I think it's probably about time to call it, guys.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
For about 3.5
hours.
to 4 hours. It's about time to run
it's almost
the
one in the
white
morning for
flag
me,
up.
for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If anybody's still sticking around, which it looks like you're not, if you look at the chat, just in case.
We
Thanks for
appreciate y'all
sticking around.
joining us nonetheless. Yeah.
Down to 3 people. Yeah. No one's here.
That's just us watching the